Switch off. I feel like I could do anything. My eyes are heavy enough. I do not need the stress. I feel like it's taking enough. I'm holding on to everything that I have. I'm losing grip of myself. God, keep my
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Hivemind Recap Podcast, March 2023. And this episode catches us up from our unintended hiatus because of some internet shenanigans. Woohoo. Hooray.
It took, what, 3 episodes and multiple hours, but we've made it.
But we have made it. We've made it. And oh boy, have we made it. Oh boy, have we made it. There was no world where we were combining March with February and January. No, February and January, we could combine. We could combine those 2 months. March, nah.
Yeah.
March was crazy. March was crazy. We have a lot to talk about this episode. If you want to keep up to date, you can follow us on social media at Hivemind Radio _ on Instagram and Twitter. Hivemind Recap on YouTube, or Hivemind Radio on YouTube. Hivemind Radio Recap on Spotify. Let's talk about some concerts. I know, Jacob, you went to a show. I went to a show.
I'm Justin, by the way.
Jacob, get us started, because I'm pretty sure you've been to the first show of the month.
I went to the Hell We Create tour with Fitbreaking, Northlane, Alpha Wolf, and Kingdom of Giants on
Phenomenal show.
The snowiest day of the year.
Oh, that's right.
And oh yeah, I'm reliving this experience. Before the snowstorm happened during the concert, so before I went in, there was nothing, and then came out, and there's snow everywhere, and barely made it to my car at the parking lot, and barely made it home. I got stuck on a road on the way back and managed to turn around and take a different route. And then I get to my street and I get stuck right before my driveway.
That's so unfortunate.
It's the best place to get stuck though, because
Yeah.
you can get the shovel. I
True.
didn't have a shovel. I didn't have a shovel in the car. So but that's not about the show. The show was good. I think North Lane was my favorite act of the night.
Mm.
It's always just so entertaining to watch, and Marcus is incredible. The whole band's incredible, honestly. It's a real treat. I haven't seen them since 2019, 2018. I can't remember. Yeah, it was really good. If you ever get the chance to see North Lane, even if you don't like them, I think it is something you should watch.
I feel personally attacked by that statement.
Hey, my friend who had to come. My other friend hurt his back, so he couldn't come. So I had to invite my friend who doesn't listen to this music at all, and I invited him. He said North Lane was his favorite act of the night. So that's, and Alpha Wolf was on that bill. Okay, you know how I gave Alpha Wolf the award for best live performance last year, and yeah, I think North Lane did it better.
All right.
That tour was my first time seeing Alpha Wolf, and you weren't lying at all.
You went?
Awesome. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. It might have actually been in like really late February now that I think about it. But yeah, I went. Because I was visiting California. We went and saw, my girlfriend and I went and saw them.
Huh.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Why didn't you ever mention it?
Because I forgot it was at the end of February. I was waiting until March. Oh, yeah. And then I also went with her to see, this is a throwback lineup, is Skillet and Theory of a Dead Man, which is the first time I've ever seen Skillet, which felt wrong. But honestly, Skillet kind of killed it. I can't lie. That live performance of Awaken Alive,
they are good at live.
Maybe a top 5 song live of all time, I think. They had them on like these elevating platforms that were going like 20 feet in the air, like up and down while they played the guitar, and a bunch of like different lighting. All the rest of the songs that they played, yeah, you know, I mean, it's Skillet, right? Gateway band, but everything else was really good. I mean, it was solid. It was solid. We had the mid-set Jesus call out, as is per Skillet tradition, I guess. And Theory of a Dead Man were fantastic. One of the, early
Derek be lagging.
Nickelback-esque bands that came out when that style of dad rock was popular. Oh, my bad. Yo, I finally got my internet, right? And then I found out the people who built the house didn't actually give me the Ethernet cord I asked for. So the router's on the other side of the house from me. So I got 2 bars of internet sometimes. That's on me. So if I lag, you can blame Comcast again because they didn't give us a Wi-Fi.
Like how he roboted when he said Comcast.
Man, it's too perfect.
Comcast the man, just try to shut him down.
Fuck Comcast. Fuck the man.
I just quickly want to mention while we're on topic that one of my college friends got to photograph Skillet at some show last year, which was very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, they had a
she flew down to Texas to specifically photograph their set. I don't know if it was some festival or what, but yeah. So that was cool. Anyway, anything else to add?
No, I didn't go to any shows, but I thought about it.
Nice.
Real.
That's what counts? Question mark.
There was the what?
So that's what counts if you squint.
Yeah. I thought about going to the Silverstein Dayseeker one, but it was like on a Friday, and I didn't have tickets at the time, and it just was gonna be much more of a hassle. And the Norva is just kind of a bitch ass place to be anyway.
I thought
See-
about going to that show too, but it was in Ottawa, which is 5 hours away.
I feel like Fridays are such a double-edged sword that way because on one hand you're like, oh, I'm done with the work. I could go see some live music, like it's right there. I'm gonna go to it. And then on the other hand, it's like, damn, I'm done with the work week. I really don't want to go anywhere.
Well,
Like,
I'm the dumbass that will just take off work early just to go to Richmond to go to one show, and then
yep.
get off work and be like, I don't want to drive 15 minutes down to the Norva.
That always happens. You just you take work off early and then actually not actually that's a story for next month. uh, Jake.
So I went to see in Hartford a tour inside my head, Until I Wake, Dark Divine, Catch Your Breath, and a couple other local openers. The local
Yeah.
openers were surprisingly good, actually. I actually all three of the local openers. I enjoyed all of their
3
performances.
openers. Wow.
Um,
That's a lot.
I mean, yeah. I mean, like the first two only got to play like 3 or 4 songs, so like it was like a 15-20 minute set, but still. I don't remember their names off the top of my head at this point, but unfortunately, Josh, the vocalist of Catch Your Breath, was sick with strep, I believe. So their
Ooh.
bassist filled in on vocals, but because of that, he's a bassist. He doesn't know all the lyrics to their songs, so they only played again a very short set of 4 songs. They played "Shame on Me," Dial Tone, and I want to say Ricochet and some other song. I forget what the other one was. They were supposed
So
to
I
play
think
their new song, but they didn't because Josh wasn't there to sing. So I
Yeah.
missed out on the teaser of the new song, which was unfortunate.
Man,
I will say
doesn't
their
even know his
bassist,
own songs.
their bassist, he sounded really impressive for just like filling in at like a moment's notice on vocals. Like he sounded great. So a lot of respect to him. Dial Tone was an obvious crowd pleaser, as expected. And then Dark Divine and Until I Wake were also really solid. I forgot how crazy Until I Wake's breakdowns are sometimes.
Right.
Like, there's a lot of songs that, like, the rest of the song is underwhelming, and because of that, I forget how good the breakdown is. Inside my head, the title track of the album, for example, I don't love that song, but my god, that breakdown went so fucking hard live.
I remember when
Still
they
sinking as
debuted-
well.
Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, it's been about a year since when you and I saw. That's
Yeah.
kind of crazy to think that they debuted it back then. But yeah, that breakdown goes nuts. I was so excited for you to see them. Don't they sound
Yep, I agree.
just like
They
studio?
sound. They
Isn't
very
it
much
kinda-
sound.
Maybe that was just a new performance. Oh, like studio. Sorry.
They sound.
Yeah. Y'all are gonna have to keep me in check, but because of my
Internet.
Dude,
We've
I
online.
didn't
been
realize it
trying
was
for
that
2.5 years. I don't think that's gonna work.
Yeah, my bad. You know what? Look,
Yeah, I get what you're trying to say though. Like they sounded very similar to like the studio version live.
You know what this is? This is retribution because I find I'm gonna go an entire episode without having a stroke, and it's just gonna come off like it anyway because my internet's gonna lag off. You know
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, I know.
what I'm saying? Like,
I do know,
can't
yeah.
win, man. it's finished.
The timing on that was impeccable. I ain't gonna lie.
Great.
So
I
good.
can't wait for I can feel the production value on my end dropping by the minute.
It's all good. It's all
Um,
good. It was a fun show. I picked up a hat from Catch Your Breath to support them, even though their performance was cut short. Wish I got to hear the true performance because I think they were back to like their normal show the next day, which was unfortunate, but it is what it is. Still,
How
had a
dare
great
their
time.
vocalist recover
Yeah.
so quickly?
Yeah, I know.
Jake
I'm
is the
gonna-
hat guy.
I'm
I am the
gonna
hat guy.
pull back the curtain for a second. Derek, you should record your own audio.
Oh, good luck with that.
For
I think
for
it's-
the audio portion,
Yeah.
Just
No,
wait.
that would be very hard to integrate. I ain't gonna lie.
would it be?
So
You'd
my
have
other
to
thing is
record
too-
yours too, Justin.
And my mic picks up like a lot of things,
Mhm.
and it doesn't have the same like sound muffling as Discord does, so there'd be like probably a lot of background noise.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just an
it's
idea.
kind of annoying. Yeah, I wish
Happens.
because it's still coming up on green as my end. So like, if there's a problem, just
We'll
be
figure
like,
it out.
Derek, Fix
Repeat
it.
yourself.
Oh shit.
It generally
Actually-
doesn't cut out for more than like a second.
You know what
So-
could be a fucking winner? Hold on. I
If
might have the
Comcast-
solution, guys. We might have come full circle.
He's gonna
Oh,
disconnect.
gosh.
He's gonna disconnect.
Comcast is gonna come back and like, sorry, we made a mistake. Let's take out the internet.
Let me put up the starting soon screen.
No. Scuff
Please
Hive
hold.
Mind
Please
moments.
hold.
He's dead, guys.
Well, actually, you know what? I'm gonna continue this conversation. Jake, would you saying their bassist was doing the vocals? I saw I Prevail without Brian in 2017, 16.
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Okay, we've come full circle. I'm connected to my hotspot.
Oh, we're doing that.
That's where we're at.
That's where we're at. Okay.
Because I figure I have my Wi-Fi for work now, so I don't have to like worry about how much I use. So hopefully this will be a little less fucked up.
Nice.
We'll see.
Although I am in the basement, so we'll see. It's
Very
all,
much a will see.
It's all yeah. It's iffy. Sorry guys. It figures I finally get internet. We finally get back caught up on episodes, and that's when my internet starts to shit the bed.
It's fine. We'll figure it out.
It's
By we, I
wanna see
mean,
it's a Hive
I
Mind.
mean, future Jake.
Yeah. Future
Yeah.
Jake. It's just become a future. It's a current Derek problem and a future Jake problem.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about how I'm already behind on my actual paid editing work anyway.
Yikes.
Anyway.
we pay you, right, guys? Right?
Well,
Have you guys been paying him? I've been paying him.
I'm not in a
That's-
paywall. I can't say shit.
Right? We
That's
have to...
You have to pay me to pay
I
him.
get paid in limes.
Derek Pogs.
Man.
Derek,
Like that for sure.
yo, can we have custom emotes on YouTube? We need to get those for the chat.
Wait,
We should.
that could be a winner. I mean, by a winner, I mean I can't do it because I don't know how to do it, but I'm sure that one of you guys got it.
Jake will figure it out.
Yeah, Jake.
I think
Will
that's
I?
the motto of this.
Will
thing.
I?
Jake will figure it out.
I think
We
we,
have a
should
problem.
get to talking about music.
Let's talk about the singles.
The singles.
The singles. We have a rather short list of singles for this month because
Do we?
it's 21. I feel like usually we're hitting like 24 to 30. We've only got
What?
21 this month, which is shorter than normal, I would say.
That feels long. But okay.
Let's get started with Fifth Dawn and their single In Between. This is the follow-up to their comeback song Return, which released late last year. If I remember correctly, Derek, you quite enjoyed that one.
Yes.
I think In Between is way better, actually.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
Like literally without
this-
a doubt.
This song, it starts out with a sick riff, a lot heavier than I expected Fifth Dawn would have gone for. And you get the same just like ethereal vocals. Super atmospheric, dreamy, ethereal, as I said. And then you get the punchy riffs when it comes in during the chorus as well. Lyrically, not as
No.
crazy with this song. Like, it's fine. But really, this song is just carried by the instrumental and the vocal performance. And her vocals really shine on this song. Very, like, Queen Spirit Box-esque. Like an Eternal Blue or the Summit type of song.
Huh.
In my
So,
opinion, anyway.
I hear a very introspective from Jacob.
I'm
Does that mean that
I'm
the view on the song
analyzing.
has shifted?
It's. I'm thinking about it in my brain. I'm processing what he just said, and
We're watching a man think in real time.
well, do you smell the smoke?
Yeah, I can hear it backfiring in your head. Oh man,
It is 420.
This is awesome. Hey man, look, I know what I'm doing after this. I don't know about you guys.
I know what I'm doing after this, and it's called opening up Adobe Premiere and editing.
Oh yeah, that's a lot different than what I plan to do.
Yeah, I'm going to bed. I'm an
Yep,
old
I
man.
imagine. My sleep schedule's fucked, but we'll talk about that another time.
Yeah,
We are
that's so
recording
real.
this on 420.
Facts. A great day to record it, folks. I must say. I think this slaps. I love this. I think that Fifth Dawn are on an upward trajectory without like any slowing
Absolutely.
down. Like between
Absolutely.
this and Return, like Duality was. I went back and listened to Duality, and it was okay. It had a couple good ones on
Yeah.
it. But I think the Return.
It's very
is
okay.
better.
Defying Symmetry, banger.
Very okay is
But-
a good way to put it.
But other than Defying Symmetry, a lot of it just kind of blended together and didn't stand out as much. In Between stands out. Like this feels like a statement
Oh, yeah.
song.
Yeah, this is phenomenal. And you know what? I feel like for a song that's as almost kind of one-noted sonically as this is, it flows really well.
Yes.
Like you mentioned, it's kind of that same sort of thing as Eternal Blue by Spirit Box, and it's got that same sort of one-notedness to it, but it works perfectly. Now, granted, maybe not quite as well as Eternal Blue, depending how high I am on that song, but you know,
Yeah.
it's close. It's close, and another big win for female-fronted bands, which is another big win for Jake, as we established last
Yes,
episode.
sir.
So,
Yeah.
now I gotta know. I saw you made the Woman Fest playlist. Did this make the cut?
I believe it did.
Let's go. We made
At
it.
the very least, Defying Symmetry did.
Top
So Fifth Dawn is
200.
in the playlist. If you know, you know. Anyway, let's talk about this next song, Derek. I know you're excited about it.
We
So.
got the brand new single from Kingdom of Giants called "Wasted Space."
Did
Which
they play
What's up?
this when you heard them?
yes, they did.
Okay.
Did they play it for you?
Yeah. I was.
Yeah.
My concert was the day it came out.
Oh shit! Yeah. It was beforehand. They're playing it unreleased. With their new vocalist, I believe, clean vocalist, who almost sounds identical to the previous one.
You reminded me. I just had like a vivid memory.
I should brought back
He
a
was
core
really. I really enjoyed their clean vocalist actually.
memory. Yeah. He has a really good live sound and presence. And if you had told me that they didn't have a new vocalist and it was the same from the previous album back in 2020, phenomenal album by the way, I would have believed you. Like he sounds so close, and they killed this. This breakdown, by the way, is sick. I don't know if y'all got into this breakdown as me, but woo! And live, it translated really well too. I can't get enough of this. I'm very excited for this new. I don't even know if I want to call it a new era, but
This is the surprise single of the month for me.
Let's
did
go.
not think I would enjoy it going into it because I wasn't the biggest Kingdom of Giants fan. I think maybe I have one or two saved. Fuck, the Clean's vocalist does such a good job, and that chorus is really fucking good.
Another very like atmospheric, dreamy type of clean delivery.
Love it.
I don't love this song as much. I think it's good, but it didn't stick with me too much. I can't really explain why, because like the song doesn't do anything wrong. I think it's more so probably just a matter of like there were other songs that were more engaging to me at the time. This one just kind of fell to the dust. But like if this song releases on like another day where like I'm not obsessed with something else, I probably have a lot more of an attachment to it. But it's a good song. Definitely a solid comeback single.
I enjoy the quiet kind of stringy build up to the breakdown. It's really good.
something I will say about this in general is I mentioned last year that I thought that North Lane was going to start being one of the like Obsidian, even if I didn't love it objectively as an album, it was going to be a cornerstone of the scene and a lot of like songs and projects moving forward. And I hear parts of Obsidian on this track.
Really?
I do. I think
I-
some of the electronic atmospheric choices, like how they work within the production, is very similar to some of the stuff off Obsidian. I'd have to pick the track out like specifically, and I haven't listened to it in forever, so I'd have to go back and re-listen.
I feel honestly, I feel like Alien is more like a staple cornerstone album, in my opinion. It's more genre bending, and I don't know. That's just me.
I think definitely from the 2010s, and it came in kind of a late contender. What 2019, right? Like I think that
Yes.
was a defining album of the genre. Then I think for this upcoming decade, I think that this might be the biggest proof in the pudding of seeing that put into concept of like Obsidian starting off the decade the right way, which makes sense. I think at least if I'm making an association because they were touring together, right? Like they've always been kind of an atmospheric metalcore band, Kingdom of Giants, I mean. But yeah, I was very surprised by this. I didn't know what to expect when they were like, "Hey, we got a new singer." Because the old singer was really good, but this one sounds just as good, if not better, and almost identical. So can't be too mad.
I've always struggled with this band. I can't get into. I guess it's the Uncleans. I just can't get into it. I really did like their clean vocalist when I heard him live, though. But I haven't returned to this song much.
I would say biggest fumble that this band ever did was not credit Courtney LaPlante on The Ride, the closer from Passenger. So if there's ever one that you're like, you know what, I need to go back and try and get myself into this band, go listen to The Ride, because Courtney fucking killed her feature. Everything about it. Fantastic. Yeah.
I forgot that song had a feature.
And now you need to go back and listen to it because it's got Courtney. It's got Courtney.
I need to listen to that album again, just in general.
It's very her feature on that is very similar to her feature in Another Life. Maybe with like a little bit less singing, but it's very atmospheric.
You're not selling it well.
Oh man. Oh no, wait, but her feature in Another Life is fantastic. Another argument point for another day. You know what I feel like we could agree on? Is that this new song from Garden, It Lives Where I Live,
these
is
two
songs. Fantastic. These songs.
We'll talk about the first one, yeah. Yes.
Sad Boy Garden is back.
Sad Boy Garden is back, and I am, you know my response is
different as I could have expected.
I really enjoyed this song. Especially like lyrics, and I think I was expecting it to like pick up more at one point, and don't get me wrong, I still like it, and I feel like I want it to pick up more at some point in the song, and it's it bothers me a little.
You know what I think that this could have done well on is Creatures Together. Maybe about midway through the album is kind of a glue to work with it, because it's very one-noted, very melancholic. I love it personally, and I think that what it is the waters, the line where it's the water's been rising for years, hypnotizing my peers into thinking they know me, but I live in fear that they don't quite appear to the likeness instilled in the old me. Something about the delivery on that and the way that it comes across is very like how I know how you feel with Perfect, how it's very nostalgic for you. This evokes that exact same
Really?
emotion in me. Yeah. Like I will admit, like objectively, I think that this is, and I say this very tentatively, like one of the weaker Garden songs that released recently. It's still like a 9.5 on 10, but I think that speaks more to my personal taste than anything else.
I kind of agree, honestly. Like, it's good, but it's not like waterproof or homebound level.
I didn't hear this and instantly go, "This is top 10s of the year song material." Like I did with Waterproof, What I did kind of do that for was this next Garden song, Monday.
Yes.
Which I've always praised Garden, I guess, for his honest lyricism, but this one gets a little more personal than I think we're really used to, and has only really been so this is a sequel to Sunday, which released, I think, either 2 years ago or 4 years ago.
Really?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. I think it was 2019. No, 2018 or 2019.
That's more than 2 years ago.
Yeah. I was thinking it's different. And it kind of gave insight into like some childhood trauma that he had
5 years ago.
But yeah, okay, that makes sense. And it's been on release on SoundCloud, and which is a shame because it's phenomenal. But he really gets into it here and kind of lets it build up to the. I almost don't want to say like it's not the climactic point of it, but it's kind of the revelation of there's evil locked inside me, but I don't know where it went. So I practice tying knots in case the thoughts inside my head leave me manic. Watch me panic about the past until I'm dead. All because some fucking loser touched my dick when I was 10. And it's like, okay, this contextualizes a lot of other songs that didn't quite directly mention it. Like, we've heard about the substance abuse and the depression and the anxiety, but like, this is really something that hasn't been touched on a lot in a lot of his music.
It's so interesting because the feel of the song is almost like upbeat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the beat kind of and the production gives a different vibe to what the lyrics are really trying to sell, especially.
I think he said he sat on this song for a long time too.
Yeah, that's where the 2 years came from. This has been in the works for 2 years because he was trying to find a lot of, especially for like a 4-minute and 4.5 minute song, right? Like, that's a lot to put together. And, you know, I really appreciate it because I think that at least the way that I've looked at it is that the first verse is about feeling the pressure from like the present and, you know, like he says, washing it away or chasing away the pain with 40 ounces of booze, like whatever, dealing with it in the present. And then the second verse is about dealing with everything that's happened in the past. And the third verse is about dealing with everything that's going to happen to you in the future and the way that people perceive you and the way that you can affect the future by changing your own self-perception, which is really interesting to me. You know, he's always got a lot of music, but this in particular, the way it's structured and the way it flows it makes you think. And of course, it's kind of like him relaying his thoughts to you. So it's not even like it's kind of open for interpretation for you to insert yourself into per se in the way that a lot of his other music is. But yeah, I think that this also would have fit really well on Creatures Together. I can't lie. I think if these two were on there at different points, they're a little longer than a lot of the other songs on there, but man.
I don't know about that. I feel like It Lives Where I Live could, but I don't know about this one.
I would say that if this went anywhere, what was that one track that he threw on towards the end? Hold on. I don't know why I'm spacing on it because I've heard it a billion
It's the one
times.
I don't like.
Yeah, the one you don't like. It's For a Reason.
Yes.
Yep. That one's very kind of introspective. And I think that if you put it after For a Reason, gave it a little bit of fade between Geronimo, having all this kind of heaviness go on you to go into Geronimo and Homebound, I think that would work really well. But that's that's throwing projection into an album that I think is relatively perfect. So, you know, take it with a grain of salt.
Pun intended.
Unintended, yeah.
Before we move on,
yeah,
I am not the one to give Garden songs too much of a fair chance anymore, just because of how often he releases music and how often I'm kind of just underwhelmed. But when I heard you guys talking about the lyricism in Monday, I gave the song a listen. It's not playlistable, but it is probably the most intrigued I've been with a Garden song in a long time.
It's a fucking miracle.
It is. It is. I was kind of underwhelmed with the song as well,
delivery.
Jake. But after I was like, wow, that is. He's being very open about something that happened to him, and I'm like being very vulnerable. And I thought it was like, wow, that's amazing.
It Lives Where I Live is just another kind of typical sad Garden song that I can't really. It's not my style, you know, but the beat and delivery on Monday works for me. Like, it's not just like noise that I'm kind of just staring at my screen, like not really feeling anything. Like, I was kind of getting into it.
Can we end the episode here? I think that's a good note to end the episode. I'm satisfied. Are you guys satisfied? Like, I'm not.
I'll be home.
I know Justin's sitting here like, I did not listen to this.
Yeah, my point being Monday is like
from a distance, if that helps.
Monday is probably one of my favorite Garden songs in a while for a song I've only heard 2 or 3 times.
Hey, you know what that means? That means Jake gave it 2 or 3 listens. I think that's a win. That's a win in my
I
book. Shake It All
agree.
Too. I'm taking it.
I had to mention it given the rarity of me being able to talk on a Garden song. So
Rare Jake moment.
rare Jake moment. Rare Jake, good take.
Is it fair to say rare Jake W? I don't know. Semi
That's something that Eddie would say.
Semi uncommon Jake W. All right.
Relatively abnormal Jake W.
All right. How about we talk
Justin.
about this enemy song called
Ah,
Silver
I'm saying
Bullet?
it.
Sorry,
Whoa!
Justin, I stole your transition.
No, just took his transition like that. He doesn't have to say
All right, I'm
anything.
going.
He took his first transition. You're crazy.
So are we talking about the song or are we transitioning?
No, Justin has to talk about it.
Well, I left. I was out of the room. We got enemy. So check. I don't know how you're fucking gonna transition that. You'll figure it out. So fucking enemy are on a tear. They are dropping this in regards to, I believe, an album dropping at some point this year. And this is really good. I would still say probably the one on the EP, Last Man Standing, is probably better, but ultimately this still lines up pretty well with their discography. I like the lyricism, especially toward the end. The song where it lives in the shadows, it stalks me like prey, burned that won't go away. I wait in the gallows, now that I can't escape. Become the monster you've made me. And then the uncleans into the harsh instrumentals. It's just really good. They've done a really fucking good job with it. Still one of the more talented, like I say lesser known, like they aren't 100,000 monthly listeners. Like they deserve like all of the credit and should be like
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That
be
still
playing
blows
a
my
lot of good
mind.
shows.
Every time I hear how many monthly listeners they have, it like surprises me, and like I always tend to add an extra 1 to the front of their monthly. Like, I'm like, these guys definitely have to have like 1.5 million monthly. You know, like you hear it and it's like they've got the production, they got everything going for them. Like the fact that it's 100,000 is ridiculous, even as somebody who doesn't like love this band.
I'm always the opposite. Like I keep thinking they only have like 50 something thousand, and I'm like, wow, they actually have a shit ton more than I thought. Like their last album or EP had millions of hits on each play, and that's still like really fucking good. They've said that their next single is dropping in June, and if it's all leading up to an album, which I'm pretty sure it is, this album's gonna be like really easy, like top 20, maybe top 10.
I don't have much to say on this song because literally anything I could say about this song I've said about their past like 17 singles or however many songs they've dropped.
That's
It's
really how I
like-
feel too.
It's literally just it's the enemy
Hey.
guarantee. It's a radio rock banger. Incredible vocals, both clean and harsh vocals. Incredible production with sick riffs and drum work and everything. It's like, what more needs to be said about this band? Enemy are great. Everything I've said before in the past few episodes, whenever we've talked about them, just literally copy paste.
I've never been so high on a band I don't love.
It is 420.
It is 420.
Facts.
They need to fucking go play some like more like well-known shows, because I think they're still like touring like pretty locally.
Yeah.
It's
The fact that they haven't been picked up for like a USA tour yet is crazy.
a USA tour, like even a festival, I don't think they've like gone to any recently.
I know for a fact you throw this band on any sort of hard rock bill, like big bill, and they're at least quadrupling the monthly listeners, because there's no reason that anybody who hasn't listened to Breaking Benjamin, 3 Days Grace, Shinedown shouldn't also love this band.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, let's put him under Five Finger Death Punch Tour.
If anything, that's better than like
I wouldn't want to
anyway.
subject this band to that. What's up,
They
Justin?
deserve
Sorry.
better. They deserve better than the Five Finger Death Punch.
Everybody deserves better than Five Finger Death
They
Punch.
deserve better than Shinedown.
Six Finger Death Punch.
Sorry.
Yeah, now you're talking.
Whoa! He's counting. I can hear the cogs turning.
I can smell the cogs turning.
All right, Justin, that's reaching.
Whoa, Jacob! Speaking of, how are you feeling about this new The Devil Wears Prada song, Reaching, off of Color Decay Deluxe?
I think it would be one of the worst songs on the album, but
Yep.
it is still decent, and I really like the part. It's the play it back. It's always so fun to hear.
I think what it is for me is that this definitely grew on me, by the way. I didn't like this when it dropped, and I said it would be like the worst song on the album. I don't necessarily feel the same way about it now. I think that this wouldn't fit on the album. I feel like the lyricism is too broad and general fit. And I think I need to exit Color Decay mode and go into Color Decay Deluxe mode, because that's sort of what got me into this. That, like,
I haven't listened to this with the album yet. I've only listened to it by itself, and honestly, this is kind of unrelated, but I really like the deluxe artwork.
I do too. I can't wait to get it on vinyl to see it shining in the light and stuff like that. Like, I think that it's a great.
It's a great way to do it.
Yeah, and I think that having that kind of splash of color now in what was otherwise like gray and white, I'm wondering if I haven't seen anything for Ignorance yet. I know it's out tonight. I haven't listened to a leak or anything. I'm wondering if the lyricism for this and that will be a bit more positive, kind of like finding the other side of it, because I don't want to listen to this in the context of the album. You tell me I have to listen to something after Cancer? Like, let's be so for real.
I only listened to this song once. I think I enjoyed something in the song, but I can't tell you because I only listened to this song once, and that was a few weeks ago.
It's probably the breakdown.
But
you probably enjoyed the breakdown. If
I actually have zero recollection of what I enjoyed about this song.
The only song that comes after Cancer is Exhibition.
That's so true.
The point I wanted to make is that with Color Decay being both of your guys' album of the year last year, it's like you're kind of messing with perfection.
Yeah.
And that's scary.
Yeah, no, I don't want anybody in perfection. Color Decay is flawless.
I get to see them in 3 weeks.
I have a thing up. If it's not sold out, I'm buying tickets. I need to see them and Bleed From Within, and then I'm leaving.
I'm literally only going for Prada.
Oh yeah.
Like, I'll watch August Burns Red, because August Burns Red is always a nice show, but I don't really know any of their newer stuff.
Please get there in time for Bleed in there, and there's my stroke for the episode. Bleed From Within. Because
not even the shitty internet could save you from that show.
No. I wish. Wouldn't that be something? It's their first appearance in the States. You gotta go see them. Sovereign Live is gonna go ridiculous. Trust.
But I'm not in the States.
Okay.
North America.
Look. I forgot you're in irrelevant country. My bad.
All right. Let's go to the next song.
We got Alts with their next single off of their album Abeyance. This is ADD, which I want to believe stands for Attention Deficit.
I was about to say, this is looking like an ADD to the playlist, so I don't know.
It's Attention Deficit Disorder, I believe. I want to stress, and I think the lyrics really point toward that. So I think that's what it means. I have no fucking idea. That could mean it. Make it.
Can I look it up on Genius?
This is still the best alt song.
No, the Great Depression exists.
Wrong.
Sorry, you're wrong.
Yup.
I have no opinion.
This is so fucking good. I love obviously the lyricism in this, and honestly, like any of the last 3 singles. Maybe not Wraith. I'm still not too high on Wraith. But fucking the lyricism on both the Great Depression and this have been phenomenal. You can really see like the mental struggles that go on between the lyrics between each of the songs, especially in the build up for this. The lyrics, I'm on another level, I'm tired, lost all sense of time and space. It's like a time bomb ticking in my skull till I'm gone. I guess I'm just fucking sick of this. And then just continuing on further, feeling like you're drowning under all the weight of everything. Fucking, I feel like we've all been there before, so it's something super relatable. And then you get a surprising as hell, really good breakdown that I wasn't expecting from this band, and it, funnily enough, blew me out of the water. And I think this, looking at the playlist, is probably my single of the month.
I
Damn.
like the cleans.
Cleans are really good.
I don't know who he reminds me of, but it reminds me of somebody. Somebody help me.
I
I can help you. I've only listened to it once. I will report back. You know what?
I
We're gonna
I will
put a pin
report
in it.
back again as well. Hopefully.
But yeah, I have fucking super stoked for this album. I didn't think I would be going into it when they announced it, but with both the Great Depression and ADD dropping, fuck me, this is on par to be a sleeper hit for me.
Definitely curious to hear this album. I don't know if it is going to stand a chance in my top 10 end of the year list, but it definitely, it's going to be an interesting one. That I don't know what else to say, but I'm very excited to review it when the album comes out.
It drops in June on the
June,
6th.
I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I added this one in the playlist, but Jake, I think you should introduce this one.
Written by Wolves have returned with a brand new single, Give 'Em Hell.
This is
And
off
boy,
the-
does it feel good to have them back.
yeah, this is a lead single up into for an upcoming album. Slated fall this year, I believe, is what they posted. The shit bangs.
Yeah. This is so much better than their last two singles.
Oh yeah,
It's not
easily.
even close.
I think this
I
is
still
like,
remember exactly where I was when I first heard this breakdown because it was in the middle of my empty room because I was repainting it the day that it came out. And I
That's-
remember just sitting in my room empty, and then that breakdown just fucking came in, and I was like, what the fuck?
right, like fucking hell. It's
I need to make note. I need to make note of the delivery of just like the anthemic buildup of if they won't listen, we'll just have to scream louder. But then right before the breakdown comes in, it's just we'll just have to scream, and then there's like a bit of a pause, and then the harsh vocals come in, it's just louder, and you get that sick ass fucking breakdown, and oh, it's so good. It's so good.
so fucking good. I love the music video for this too. It's like
Oh, yeah.
all black and white, like a kingdom fight and whatnot. Really love the vibe to it, and this song is has a dark atmosphere. They teased the chorus lyrics on Twitter, and like I was hooked. It's super good, super easy to get into, and to just put on repeat, especially with like the breakdown and everything. Um, this is a very good jumping off point into whatever they have cooking for this next album.
Absolutely. I honestly don't have too much more to say about it. Just
Nah.
it's an amazing written by Wolf song, but my god, that breakdown.
Nothing
kinda-
tops Demons for me still.
That is true. Demons is goated. That song is special. But
I've gone back to
yeah.
a lot of that album. I still have really good fun memories of first listening to Start the Fire and To Let It Burn.
Mm.
Still one of my favorite album moments.
Yeah, Secrets is an absolutely incredible album as a whole, but Demons in particular, that song is something else if you haven't heard it. But yeah, Give 'Em Hell is a fantastic song to lead off this new era written by Wolves, and I'm extremely excited to hear what they have cooking.
We mentioned a lot of the vocals, but I also want to give another mention to the instrumentals because I think they've really evolved with Any Second and whatever the other single was.
Oh no.
Oh no, yeah. I think they've really evolved their sound. You could hear it a little bit in their cover of Paper Cut. They did a Linkin Park cover. But no, this is on another level. This band has stepped up their game.
Let's talk about the second single from Picturesque's upcoming EP. Single is called Strange Habits. EP is called If You Know, You Know, or IYKYK. Put it in the you know.
Please never do that again.
I won't. I will not. I will let one of you guys transition it next month. But anyway, this is not as strong as Hopeless, but I think this is still a very solid Picturesque song.
I agree with Jake.
You think this is better than
Oh,
Hopeless?
no. Justin, I need you to back me up here.
No,
Please
Justin's
leave me
with us.
alone.
I already know. He said it in the
Stop
chat.
it. Stop it.
He was literally the
Justin?
first one.
I will let him speak for himself.
Okay.
I refuse
Justin?
to speak.
Let's go. All right, I'm going to take that as a
No,
win from
no,
my side. We're even.
What?
He
I'm on the
has-
side of them.
Oh, no.
Strange Habits.
Why is Strange
Habits is
Habits the
good.
better song?
It's
Why
good
is Strange
for
Habits the
chorus.
better song?
It's because, look, I think that Hopeless and like this EP in general are going to define vibe core moving forward for the rest of the decade. I think that this is a better song than Hopeless solely because I feel like this is something that only Picturesque could do, whereas I feel like Hopeless feels a little bit more generic. I think that if you take any other given, like, well, like again, I'll pull a term out, vibe core band, and say, I want them to do Hopeless versus I want them to do Strange Habits. I think that more of them could do Hopeless than Strange Habits. And I think that this has a certain kind of swagger to it and a tempo to it that only Kyle from Picturesque could pull off. And I think that makes me appreciate it more.
Yeah, I agree. This is definitely a more picturesque song than Hopeless. And better, yeah, I could see that. I still want to mention that Hopeless is still easier to listen to.
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
Hopeless is so much more replayable and catchy to me. Strange Habits is still very fun though. And this is shaping up to be one of the best EPs of the year.
Oh, this is right now. This is clocking in at number 1.
Yeah,
I already know. I haven't even heard. Well, like, it comes out tonight, but I already know.
3.5 hours, and it's probably gonna drop in the middle of this with the way we're going.
Surely not. Surely not.
I think Hopeless is more fun. I think the lyrics in this are better.
I will also agree with that.
Yep.
This is a very the tempo on this is very similar to Attention from that last album, I think. Which is something that I really enjoyed.
I think it's
interesting that you mentioned that now, because I didn't really see that. And Attention is my favorite song of theirs.
I need you to go back and think about Attention and then listen to this and like get in there. Is all I can say. Because
I feel like Attention is more vibey, whereas this is more like how I don't know how to differentiate that. I don't see it.
Attention vibey.
It's so funny that you think Attention is more vibey than like probably the vibiest song that Picturesque have put out in a while.
Attention is like the most. I think it was one of their heaviest songs.
I don't know about heaviest, but yeah, there are some uncleans on that first album.
Oh, I haven't heard it.
Me either.
Again,
I don't want to ruin it.
Around to.
I don't want to ruin the Picturesque illusion.
Look, I am waiting for the day this band pops off because I've been listening to them for a little over.
This
5
band
years
is popping
now,
off,
and they deserve it. I hope they.
They deserve to pop off even more.
Absolutely.
They're going to be playing in Connecticut this summer, but I think I'm probably going to miss it, unfortunately. Damn shame. Anyway.
Speaking of bands that deserve to pop off, Justin, how about you tell us about this next one?
We got another single from Misfortune. Last time we talked about them was when I fucking hated the single Johnny Craig's voicemail on it. This is Black Pixie on the Edge from an upcoming album, Gravity's Rainbow, dropping on May 26th.
Sorry, I think I repressed that. Do you want to repeat it? They put Johnny Craig's voicemail on the last song.
On the fucking the day the sun died. That's why I hate the Spotify release, and the YouTube release is so fucking good.
Was it like the Blue Dream type of thing? Like, hello, what color are your fucking eyes? Or they just put Johnny Craig's literal voicemail into the song?
I can't remember. You'll have to go check it out. It's like the first 30 seconds. But
Oh,
man,
great! They started the song off with
I
his
know, it's like, I fucking hate
voicemail.
it. But this song, I think, redeems that. I think this song is so much fun. It's got like a super serious, like kind of lyrics to it. Especially with down the bottle and send me a message once you give me a sign that you're still on the edge, and then you claim that you learned all your lessons. But the guitars, it's got a such fucking good fun sound. Um, at the time of the recording of this, their next single has dropped that we'll talk about next month. But I went back and listened to Rolling Blackout and Matching Energies, which are the other two singles from this upcoming album. And I would say this is probably the best single. The other two are probably more relative to what their normal like punk poppy influence sounds. This kind of leans more into that poppy atmosphere, and I think they really shine in that kind of atmosphere, and it's such a fun song. Kind of gives me a Stan Atlantic Pink Elephant kind of feel.
I
Ooh,
get
that
like
seems
Swancore
Mm.
vibes.
I do too.
And
Yeah,
I
definitely more Swancore IMO.
It's probably because I listened to Jurassic Park maybe like a couple days ago, and that's still kind of in my head a bit. So that's probably where I'm going from.
I don't know.
But
I
yeah,
feel like I'm done with Swancore now.
some unfortunate part
relate.
is some of it's pretty generic. But I
I'm
think
joining the Jake club.
this kind of just bridges the gap. There's some that do it really well, like what was that one that we talked about? Glacier something?
Isles and Glaciers?
No, not Isles and Glaciers. Fuck, it was the one that was touring with or that played with Paloma when they did their
Yeah.
song in Seattle. Burn Mona Lisa Burn. That's what, or yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm with you.
Glacier House was their single, and I think they
Okay.
do. I think they've done it really well. I think this kind of isn't quite Swancore anymore. I think it's just kind of more like pop punk, almost.
What I will say is that I love the color aesthetic for this album art, and any single or
I
album
thought
that
it
has these like colors as their album is draw me in.
It's
I'll
so
listen to it
pretty.
regardless.
I saw the full album art, and Derek, they're dropping vinyls of it tomorrow.
Let's go. Hold
With
on, I need to go look
with
at
the
those.
name and the artwork, I thought it was like some anime song. I'm not kidding.
That's fair.
Anyway,
Jake, did you get to this?
Yeah, it's fine.
All right, there we go. Sorry, I needed to hear one.
oh, check it off the
Yeah,
bingo
yeah.
card.
Check it off. Check it off.
All right, let's get a move on then. We've got Resolve, a new band for the podcast, dropping their single "Death Awaits."
We've
I
talked
don't
about them
have too much
with,
to say on this.
landmarks. That landmark.
That's
song.
true. That's true.
Oh yeah, well this is the first time that
With their song, yes.
Their
Right.
song. I don't have too much to say on this song. I just need to mention that this is the Rising Empire guarantee of quality.
Yeah.
It feels like most of the time, it feels like a majority of bands that are on a Rising Empire as a record label are just good.
Rare
I think,
Eminence W.
Yeah, I think a Rising Empire have like just a really good guarantee, and I think this band kind of really blends their style with a lot of the Rising Empire artists and fits really well. I got into this band back when they dropped their album Between Me and the Machine, specifically their song Forever Yours. That's still in my one of my like older playlists. I haven't followed any of their newer releases. This was the one that kind of caught my attention, and it's a really good song. Um, I don't think it stands out as much as I want it to in amidst the other releases that I've dropped in the last couple months. but it's still a really good song. I wanted to highlight it here for the podcast to see how everyone felt on it.
The song's solid. It's just solid. I don't know how too much to
Solid
say.
okay.
Yeah.
Those are I'm sitting on it.
Yeah.
I think the problem is that I feel like it worked, or the resolve feature worked so well in Self-Made Black Hole that anytime I hear the vocals and I instantly think about Self-Made Black Hole.
Yes. And
then I think about this song like, damn, this is not that. Like, you know?
I actually that's like how I think of them too. It's like, oh, they're that band that featured on Landmark song.
So hopefully I can sort of distance myself from that in the future, and that they will also release better material, because I feel like this has the potential to be on that cusp of greatness, and definitely going to keep my eye on them, especially after the feature and especially after this.
Good. All right, next.
Crown the Empire have released their single Black Sheep. Hope somebody got that.
Did you try to make a noise? Your mic like cut out a little bit.
No, I did the clearing throat thing that he did at the beginning of the song. Anyway.
Oh no, it was just silent.
Damn. The live stream people heard it.
It sounded like you like fell out of your chair or something.
Bro,
I literally just went.
Oh, that time it came through. You're good.
I did it more loud. Anyway.
Oh.
Yeah, you're basically on the song now.
Yes, we're talking about Black Sheep, which is the best single for this upcoming album. Anybody else agree?
That's crazy. I didn't listen to it.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. I didn't listen to it.
You liars. I know Justin listened to it because he said.
Oh.
I know Justin listened to it. I remember he responded to it when I posted in the chat. So.
Pull the receipts.
I don't remember anything from it.
Somebody pull the receipts. I'm gonna pull them.
I remember saying it was the first single with the Sudden Sky-esque vocals.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Go ahead.
Justin said, only took 5 singles, and this is only better than like half of Sudden Sky. Nothing tops Blurry for me yet.
Yeah. Past Me was right. Should have listened to him more.
Anyways, they played this song live. He did the clearing throat thing, and it was kind of hilarious because I didn't really notice it until he did it live. And I think it's just funny. Yeah, the cleans are the Southern Sky-esque vocals, or yeah, cleans. And I think this is the best single. Is this album coming out tonight? When does this come out?
Maybe?
Did I forget that this album comes out tonight?
I have no idea.
It's either this week or next week. Anyway.
Yeah, no, it's next week. It's next Friday.
Yeah.
Okay, not out yet.
I'm gonna have to give this band my first proper chance next week. Then
this guy,
you
have to go to Sudden Sky.
Yeah,
you will not like this album.
You just had 3 people. Go
Justin hasn't heard the album.
Bro,
I don't need to. 4 singles.
I will be listening. I will be listening to Dogma, the album by Crown the Empire next week. We will probably be talking about it in our April recap. And then maybe I will get to Sudden Sky 2 years later.
Sudden Sky. You know what? No, screw Sudden Sky. Go listen to The Fall. That's their best album.
Dude,
all right, give me a decade. Give me a decade
from what we're listening here. I agree, but look, I think what this is for me is Another Life is fantastic. Dancing with the Dead is complete and utter garbage, and I've been so disenchanted with everything they've dropped since. So I'm just waiting for the album to come out. Like,
really, I enjoyed Dogma and Black Sheep.
You know what? If Dogma and Black Sheep are fantastic, I'll get to hear them on the album. As it stands, I was so lost with Dancing with the Dead that I'm like, fuck it, this band kind of sucks now. And that came out right about the time that all the allegations with their drummer came out and left this really bad taste in my mouth. But it was
not the drummer.
Yeah, the drummer.
It's the guitarist.
What?
It's guitarist.
Why are we in disagreement about who in the band has allegations?
It's the guitarist.
I feel like there's a bigger picture here.
Anyway, Well, I don't know. I don't want to frame the drummer for something he didn't do.
For the actions of the guitarist.
Exactly.
Bad, all right.
Okay, You know
We're
what?
in dark waters here.
Man,
we're
I
in
feel
Blackwater,
I
as Time
am
Evaluator would
I'm the
say.
black sheep in this situation. I'm the one, odd one out.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
You are.
everybody hates this song, and I think it's good. Next song.
None of us can hate it because we haven't heard it. Jake,
Tennis. They have released a brand new song called Abyss. First time talking about them on the podcast. I found this band back in like 2018, like when I just discovered that the Spotify Discover Weekly was a thing. And for whatever reason, this band showed up on it. And Defying Gravity is an absolute banger. Then this band went quiet for like 5 years. I think they released like 1 or 2 songs since then. I didn't really care for any of it. This song, however,
phenomenal.
this
Really
song
good.
slaps. This is really fucking good.
This is ridiculously good. I thought this was a Justin song. I didn't have the thing spread across wide enough, like full screen, to see who it was added by. And I really thought this was going to be a Justin song.
It's always fun to
It
do
could be
that.
it could be shared between me and
Yes.
Justin, to be honest.
We need to get the bingo card. I think, you know what? I think we should. This is kind of unrelated, but I think we should give Eddie the bingo card while she listens.
I think that's a phenomenal idea.
I think we should give her the bingo card. Jake,
I need to get on that. Fuck, that's another thing I need to do. Damn
we have it.
Yep.
You can just use the old version.
It's the
Can we?
default. Leave it to Jake play.
it. Anyway, the riff on this song goes nuts, but I want to focus on the breakdown
So
because it goes wub wub.
It does go up, boy.
That is a rare sight for a breakdown to go wub wub.
I think more breakdowns should go wub wub.
They,
Guys, I have the perfect band for you. Have you
Okay.
guys heard of the Browning?
I can't
let him-
believe all
why
this
we let
time
him
later
speak?
we're still talking about the fucking brownie.
I don't know why. Whenever Jacob brings up the Browning, it's just hilarious.
But it is-
It's just that band for some reason. I don't get it. But yeah, no, this song is great. Chorus hits super hard. Breakdown goes wub wub, dubsteperinos, and you get like almost, I want to say it's like a very traditional like Architects-esque riff, but it still
Yeah.
slaps. So like I don't really care.
This reminds me a lot of another song that came out late last year by another small band called Afterglow, called Like a Wave. And the riff slaps, and the song as a whole is produced to be very atmospheric. And it's a very hit or miss combo for me, but when it hits, it hits. And this hits. I love this. I can't stop pronouncing the band like T-Anus in my head. But besides that,
Bro,
everything about this is
I don't know
fantastic.
about you, but when Jake read the name at the beginning of this conversation, I heard him say tennis, and I can't get that out of my head.
No, tennis. We got the real
Tennis is
pronunciation.
the
We got
man.
tennis, and we got T-Anus. All right, now we got Justin with
This band has sub 5,000 monthly listeners, which is criminal.
That's unreal. Hey, look, another little podcast star that we can throw into the books.
Absolutely. Very excited to see what this band has cooking because they've been quiet for a while, and if this is like their comeback to them actually like actively making music again, I am all on board. This band is absolutely a hidden gem.
Super down.
All right, let's talk about it. The final single before the upcoming album from As Everything Unfolds. The song is Slow Down. The album Ultraviolet drops tonight, the day that we are recording it. Not to be a downer, but I think Slow Down is the weakest single of the 5. It's still good, but I think the vocal delivery on this song, it's a little off-putting. And like, you kind of have to listen to it a lot to really get into it. Especially in the verses, like the stuttered vocal delivery with the harsh vocals, like it works, it matches the riff, but it's not the instant earworm that a lot of the other singles were.
I can't attest to it because I haven't listened to it. And not because I didn't want to, but because I'm very excited for this album and I don't want it spoiled.
That's fair.
You know, and I think that as everything unfolds, are gonna drop a top 10 album of the year. I am putting that down right now.
Whoa.
I don't care. And that's coming from me.
Add
That's
it to
coming
the
from
Twitter
that's not a
thread,
left
Jake.
field.
Add it to the Twitter thread.
That's coming out of, look, I've only heard really whatever it's called, Felt Like Home and Blossom and parts of Ultraviolet. And I heard half of Ultraviolet and I went, this slaps. I want to have a
So you
full
haven't heard
experience with the
Flipside at
album.
all?
No.
You haven't heard Flipside at all? Oh,
Nope.
you're in for a
Nope.
treat tonight.
Perfect. Well, maybe not tonight, but in general, yeah. Tonight, maybe not. By the time we review the album, absolutely.
You gotta remember, it's 420.
Yeah. You gotta give me
True,
some
true.
cushion here.
I'm on that like 2 to 3 a.m. sleep schedule right now, so I'm listening to this tonight. I don't have a choice. It's not like I'm falling asleep. Like I can listen to this album 2 or 3 times over before I even get tired. So
Jake is talking
I'm
fast.
fucked.
He needs to slow down.
that's true. I also need to mention that this song has a crazy riff down. Where you get a sick build up with the drums getting faster and faster, and then the riff just comes in with Charlie like screaming like heavy as the head that wears the crown.
Oh no. He's not gonna hear that in his end.
Yo, I got fucking Optimus Prime hosting my podcast, bro. What's going on?
Oh, Jake, you have to go back and hear that on the stream. Because
I'm scared. I'm scared.
Because your recorded audio it's not gonna come through on his recorded audio.
Oh no. Alright, well, for anyone listening to the edited version of this on Spotify after the fact, go to YouTube, find the stream VOD playlist, and go to the timestamp.
I'm loving that. Good lord.
I should never try to sing or like say a lyric ever again.
I think we
should.
put Jake on Uncleans, bro. Did you hear that? Oh my good lord.
No.
Oh.
Anyway, I think this is the weakest song. It's still good. As Everything Unfolds slaps. Ultraviolet's one of my most anticipated albums of the year. Let's move on.
That's
to
TLDR.
another one.
The TLDR.
Jake, I have the transition. Are you ready for this?
Okay, fuck me.
We're gonna skip a song, all right? Because this is very important. Jake kind of sounded like Optimus Prime, who's a Transformer. You know who had the outro song for the original Transformers movie? It's What I've Done by Linkin Park. Speaking of Linkin Park,
The slideshow.
Jacob, how about you tell me about this next song?
My slideshow. My slideshow.
Playlist.
My slideshow. It's on water.
Oh shit, I forgot there's a production side of it. Okay, Jake, never mind. Tell us about the real
He's backtracking. Are you kidding me?
I can't breathe.
Dude, the playlist already adjusted. Oh no. Okay.
Okay, what song are we on? Sorry, guys. What
song are we on?
Okay. Honey Revenge. Airhead. Honey Revenge Airhead.
Wait,
Justin, not Justin. Derek is an airhead. That's my transition.
Dude, I forgot, bro. I forgot.
Honey Revenge have released Airhead. And this song is good.
So Derek just completely fucking ruined my transition.
Sorry,
Because I was gonna say that speaking of one of my most anticipated albums of this year, with As Everything Unfolds, Honey Revenge are absolutely inserting themselves into that conversation with what
Sheesh.
single number is this?
I
Like
don't know, 5, 6.
5? Single number 5? Maybe? Fuck, I don't really know. Honey Revenge are on a fucking tear with these singles. This song is like maybe the most fun song I've heard in months. The guitar riff on this song is so fucking fun. It's like, damn, I'm such an airhead.
We're all
Well, Derek
airheads.
is. Damn, I'm such an airhead, no strength in my spine. With the best intentions, I can't make it right. Like, god damn, the song. It's so fun. It's so groovy. The guitars are incredible. Devin's vocals are fantastic, like usual. It's just this band just decided to show up, release "Miss Me," which was fine, and then decide, you know what? Fuck it. We're gonna be one of the best pop rock bands in the biz.
I think
debut album Retrovision comes out June 23rd. If you're not on to this band, you're missing out.
It's hot in here.
Dude, somebody needs to because look, I loved Are You Impressed? This is way better. And this is almost twice the amount of plays as Are You Impressed?
Damn.
With less amount of time. So maybe radio play, maybe playlist play, I don't know. But you know what this reminds me of is that most recent Against the Current song. Very upbeat, very fun, very
Speaking of Against the Current, they're also dropping a song the day we're recording this, so.
Oh man, dude, look. Honey Revenge, we've been here since the beginning. Shout out Honey Revenge. If you're not on this wave, you need to be. What are they at now? 250 a month.
Honey Revenge, when are you coming on the podcast?
Real. Somebody bring Honey Revenge on here.
I like Honey.
And this shit slaps.
I like Bees.
I don't like Honey, but I like Honey Revenge.
I like Bees.
Cool. Moving on.
Bro, let's come out to dry. Sorry.
Linkin Park. We haven't talked about them today.
Yeah.
I've released Fighting Myself, which is another deluxe, or not deluxe, 20-year anniversary song for Meteora. And I don't think this is as good as Lost. I think,
but it's another Linkin Park song.
This song screams like early 2000s with like the reversed vocals and stuff.
Oh yeah. It's for the people that are like there's very much an audience for Linkin Park that is very nostalgic to the early 2000s, and this song is gonna feed into that nostalgia so well.
It worked for me. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying it's okay. You can go.
I'm going to stand with Justin here. I think that all of these have been just okay, and I don't know what it is.
See, I think this song is just okay, but with both these tracks, the bridge of both these songs absolutely sell it for me. They're just, I don't know, they're just so good. It's like I can't run with this weight on my back. I can't see because I'm focused on the past. I can't breathe. I need to break free from the anger that is constantly inside of me. Oh, I love it.
My thought, and this is speculation because I haven't really sat down and thought about it, is that the Linkin Park songs that I love came out about the same time as this, but I felt some sort of special attachment to them at the time. And so I can go back to them whenever and listen to them. This sounds like something out of 2003, which if I felt more connection to, say, Hybrid Theory or Meteora, I would love. But as somebody who's kind of coming in with a select few Linkin Park songs that mean a lot to them and a general inexposure to the rest of their material, the fact that this sounds like it was from 2003, which I guess like it is, kind of throws me off a little bit. Like, you can tell this was a demo, right? And
yeah, especially with like the it's literally like backwards vocals, like it's just reversed in this song.
Yeah. So as somebody who appreciates Chester Bennington for the few songs that we had, fantastic. I'm happy to hear him again, but I'm not feeling that same connection to them that I think a lot of people who really maybe grew up with or attached themselves to a lot of those albums from Linkin Park felt. So I'm having to look at this from like a kind of objective, subjective, somewhere in the middle 2023 lens, and it's not quite hitting that mark for me, which is really upsetting because I feel like this should be hitting more than it is. Like Chester Bennington's, unfortunately, rest in peace, been gone for what, 5-6 years now? 6-7? 6-7 years, and hearing new material, I feel like should hit me stronger than some of this is, and I don't know why it's not.
I'm gonna do a little complaining here.
Yeah,
we're not gonna review the 20th anniversary edition because it is 4 hours long, and
just like this podcast is gonna be.
and I don't know which songs are new. I can't tell.
Oh,
Maybe that makes me. Maybe I'm not a big enough Linkin Park fan, but I just don't know which songs are new. There's so many. How many tracks is this?
if you drop
95 tracks.
It's what?
What is that?
It's how many?
A bunch of them are
All right,
live.
I need to see this for myself.
It is 6 discs, 95 tracks.
I'm never complaining about a 20-track deluxe album ever again. Because how the fuck are you gonna drop a 95-track album?
Oh.
I think all the new
95?
stuff is on disc 6. Anyway,
So now's the time for me to expose myself that I've never listened to Meteora in full before. And I also think now is a great time to transition into our next song.
that is a good idea.
Do it.
Grandson has dropped new song Drones and also announced his second album, I Love You, I'm Trying, which releases May 5th in just a few weeks as of recording this episode.
Wait, he
we
only has
didn't
one
talk-
album? I
Yeah,
didn't
he has
know
one
that.
album and like 3 EPs.
Oh, that's
There's
what it
the
is.
Modern Tragedy series, and then
Hmm.
Death of an Optimist came out in 2020, and it's been kind of quiet ever since Death of an Optimist came out. Released his first song in a while back in February, Eulogy, which I'm sad that we didn't get to talk about because I feel like if there was ever a Grandson song that Jacob you would enjoy, I feel like it probably would have been Eulogy.
The only one I have saved is We Did It. And honestly, I don't know why that's still on my playlist.
I encourage you to give Eulogy a listen because the point I wanted to make in our last recap is that it's like almost garden-esque.
Oh. Derek, can you confirm? if
There's
it's Garden
no
esque?
singing. It's just kind of like a monotone delivery the entire way through on like kind of more of a trap beat.
Hmm.
Drones, however, is much more of a traditional Grandson song, and I fucking love it. It's super bouncy and fun. You get the checkmark Grandson political commentary song, and you also get a weird ass like fake out breakdown kind of thing at the end of it, where it's like, imagine what a breakdown would sound like if you just removed the guitar. It's really weird.
Well,
there's like
drums?
there's like
Drums?
I feel like there's kind of some bass there too, I think. But it's a weird ending to the song, but I kind of fucking love it. As I said, I think the chorus in this song is also super catchy. The delivery of the chorus: drones up in the sky look like paper kites, bombs light up the night, burn like fireflies. Tell me one good lie so I can sleep at night. Hurt me one more time, I want to feel alive. I love the delivery on that. This song sounds like a Grandson song. No one else really sounds like Grandson, as far as I'm concerned anyway. And I am really excited for the upcoming album. I don't think I'm as excited for it as I was with Death of an Optimist. I feel like the turnaround on this album, I feel like it's kind of just like coming. It's like, what the fuck? This album's already coming out in like 2 weeks. Like, where the hell did that come from? It feels like Eulogy just came out like a few weeks ago and Drones just came out a few weeks after. It's like, I feel like it's just very suddenly come upon me and I haven't even had the time to process that, like, oh shit, one of my top 5 favorite artists of all time is about to drop his second album. Yeah, that's where I'm at. You guys have any thoughts on Drones? Or should we move on?
Drones are cool.
I have a drone.
Drones are cool.
Jake,
That's all I
think
got. Sorry, Jake.
Jake, I think you might be so alone in your opinion.
Hmm.
Whoa! Speaking of, Currents have dropped their newest single, "So Alone." I don't know if this is the last one. I don't think this is the best one. I didn't know that he could go that low on gutturals.
Have you not heard like Poverty Itself?
Yeah, I just chose to ignore it because it's not that great.
My guy.
Speaking of ignoring things, this is the typical Currents guarantee for me of a song with banger chorus that is too heavy for me otherwise.
Jake is right. Well, kinda. The chorus is good. The rest of the song, I don't know.
The guttural moment just completely takes me out of the song as if I'm listening to insert deathcore band here.
Dude, I feel so alone on these singles. I feel like I've been high on all of them except for the one single that you guys were high on.
Okay.
I feel like I'm on
Okay,
my island
after,
here.
no, I'm
Remember
gonna be,
Me is good.
I'm
Remember
gonna
Me
be,
is good.
I'm gonna be honest. After our discussion about Remember Me,
Uh-huh.
I added it back to my playlist.
Let's go. I'll take that as a win. Man,
I am
think
also
that-
bummed
I'll
that I
say-
did not buy tickets for this show.
yes, this and Invent Animate, man. Oh my goodness. Like Moss the Flames. I might.
Well, I don't
switch
care
around and
about the
go for
openers.
Oh. I will keep my mouth shut. No, I think that this as a whole, in terms of like lyrics and everything, I feel like Remember Me had moments that really stuck out. I think this is a lot weaker than that song was, but at the same time, it has that guttural moment to me that I think that this is going to be better than the way it ends. And I think that retroactively, the way it ends is not a top 10 album of 2020. I'd probably take it out. It would still make like top 12, top 15 type of thing. I had it in my top 10 at the time. I think that this is a very good shot at entering and staying in my top 10. And I think that in general, this is like aside from the single. I don't know if you guys are feeling the same way. I feel like 2023 so far has been a very like, you know, that thing at this is going to be a deep cut, and maybe they don't even have these in Canada, so bear with me. But you know, Chuck E. Cheese.
Yep.
You know how they've got that little fucking air pit or air cylinder you can stand in and grab Chuck E. Cheese bucks and then go like for your birthday.
yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what this year feels like for music to me. That I had very few expectations coming in, and I'll hear an album that's really good, and I'll grab it out of thin air and throw it into my list because I didn't expect it to make it there at all. That's what this feels like to me. That I think that Currents are going to land themselves somewhere solidly in like that number 4 to number 7 spot, and I wouldn't have expected them to at all. But I truly don't know what my end of year is going to look like at this point. There is one album that I know is going to make it there. That
Me too.
talking about
Is it
later.
the Save album?
Are we talking about it later? We are. Okay, perfect.
Oh,
Uh,
we're not talking about Save album.
maybe not. No. But I'm pleasantly surprised by how good all these current singles have been.
There it
especially
is.
This one.
Put it in.
Oh fuck! I didn't even mean to do that. Man. Damn it. Where's Eddie with their bingo when you need her?
I don't think this Currents album can be better than the way it ends unless they somehow manage to make a song that's better than Better Days.
Better days.
Better
Better Days. I don't think it is possible to make a. I
That's
don't
the
think it is
days.
possible for Currents to make a song better than Better Days.
The new surprise closer, Better Squared.
Better weeks.
Speaking of currents and something currents in the ocean water transition. Oh, Justin, take us away with this next one.
Wowza.
So you start the transition.
That was the
and then
best
you
one all night.
Transition
That
it
was
to me
phenomenal.
to do a transition. Fucking Shape of Water by Siamese featuring 1056.
It was a fine transition, right?
Can
No,
I
it
pull-
wasn't.
Can I pull
Right?
a really deep cut here?
Sure.
Like a really deep cut? The little chant at the start of this sounds like the little electronic bit at the start of Bad Decisions by Bad Omens. That is the deepest cut, and maybe not for me because I've listened to that song 8 bajillion times. But if you listen to the start of the song and then listen to the first 5 seconds of the electronic bit from Bad Decisions, it's kind of crazy. Like,
I mean, admittedly, like you listen to the song, it's probably I think it's got a villain vibe to it.
it
At
does
least,
'cause
like-
the song slaps.
At least during like the start of it.
This
yeah,
feels
but
like a
the
Bad
song-
Omen song.
This is really fucking good for Siamese.
I am unfortunately very underwhelmed.
Sad.
Jake,
I don't know why.
Jake,
Yes.
hold on. When the song came out, I absolutely loved it. I thought I was like, wow, this is Siamese's best song. it has dropped off tremendously for me.
Damn. I'm sorry. Like, this song is fine. It's a Siamese song. It's good.
Yeah,
It's just not better than a majority of top 10 album of 2021 Home.
I mean, it's not
That
on the
album
That-
blew me.
That's
Yeah.
the difference.
I mean,
yeah.
the point is, this is like a new era for Siamese. Home is well over a year old at this point. It's just, as the follow-up to Home, an album that blew me away so much, my hype level for Siamese has definitely fallen.
You've got to put it in perspective. This is probably to match the level of what 1056 does, and I don't think they could do.
It's
something
not
else
even that. I'm not complaining about the song being like heavier than some
Well,
of their
no,
normal
you're
stuff,
complaining
but-
about the song being a new era, and that's not technically what it is. I think it's just a collaboration between two artists, and I don't think it's gonna be like any definition of what Siamese are gonna do for like next album or anything.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. It's just I'm still disappointed given how high I was on them going into this single.
Yeah, I think it's
This song
unfair
just
to
doesn't click for me.
I think it's unfair to the artist to compare it to the album when it's certainly not on the album, so it shouldn't have that comparison. And it sounds far different enough to where it should stand on its own.
I don't think it sounds that different, to be honest.
I think it sounds pretty different, but that's me.
I think we just have to agree to disagree on this one, is what it sounds like.
Yeah,
We just have very different takes on this song.
I love the slow build up into the verses. It's very kind of a gentle slow, and then it immediately hits play on words like a crash of a wave. The
Nice
chorus
one.
is also really good. It's can't be chained, can't be tamed, ever changing in the shape of water, from a drop to a wave, ever changing. I love his delivery on that chorus. It's I think still the best part of the song.
Best part of the song is the breakdown. Breakdown slaps.
I disagree. I think it's the worst part.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
The breakdown in this song is super chunky, and I like it. Just the verses and the chorus are not doing much for me, unfortunately.
Have they grown in size off this? Because I've been seeing so many people talking about this song.
Really? I haven't realized.
Maybe not.
I don't think they're that much
I
bigger
feel
than
like
they
I've been
were.
seeing a lot of people talk about this song though, on like
Maybe
Twitter.
because of the maybe because of the 1056 feature.
Maybe.
Because that was recently. What was the last thing they featured on? I have no idea. Was it Distant was appears to be the last album they were on. Yeah, I have no idea. By the way, I think Siamese are good. I think the song is really good. Kind of stands up on the discography, but that's just it.
It's a fine Siamese song. I just have very high expectations for this band. Let's move on. We got two more songs to talk about. Let's talk about my favorite song of the month, Horror Show by Hot Milk, the lead single for their upcoming debut album, A Call to the Void. After last year's EP, The King and Queen of Gasoline, I was underwhelmed. They leaned much more into kind of a traditional pop punk sound on that EP. And I mean, there were some good songs. The Secret to Saying Goodbye is great. I really enjoyed the opener. It's a good EP. I mean, hell, it made my top 10 EPs last year. I don't dislike it that much. But Hot Milk have a very special place in my heart for being an incredibly unique band. And I don't feel like the King and Queen of Gasoline really did that. Horror Show feels like a statement song to be like, Hot Milk is here to play, and they're here to stay. This song is fucking incredible. I feel like as a lead single, I wouldn't have wanted anything else. According to the track listing, this is going to have a like interlude opener track, kind of like it was like a Start the Fire to Let It Burn type of situation from Written by Wolves. So I am just knowing that this is going to be the album opener for Call to the Void has me unbelievably excited for this album. And I'm already willing to say it's going to be better than The King and Queen of Gasoline, just based off of this song alone. I love the opening riff. It's extremely fun. I love the first verse where it's like there's no real instruments or anything at all. It's just like very low key. But then Hannah comes in and eventually the instruments kick in. I love the pre-chorus into kind of like the riff bridge type of thing. This song reminds me of Witchcraft by Pendulum. If any of you guys know that song, it's kind of like an old classic, like late 2000s type of song.
I
Drum and
remember
bass
that.
type of vibe. Drum and bass type of vibe with rock. And I immediately got vibes of that on this song, and I fucking love it. I love the way that the chorus into the second verse, the bass is so fucking fat. It's incredible. And then the song builds up to the very end where after the final chorus, you get the typical riff that you get throughout the rest of the song, but then you get Hannah screaming, "Welcome to the show," before you get kind of the riff turned into a breakdown. And my God, it's so fucking good. This has potential to be my favorite opening track to any album I hear this year. I'm willing to make that call this early into the year.
That isn't really cool.
So yeah, Horror Show by Hot Milk is my favorite song of the month. Smile. I don't know if you can tell, but I really fucking like this song. Derek, did you get a chance to listen to this?
I did. This is my favorite Hot Milk song in a while. I can't
Let's
lie.
go.
It's so solid. The fact that this is an opener, I didn't know that, makes me perceive it a little bit differently, but overall, I'm fucking with it. I haven't been able to say that very concretely about a Hot Milk song in a while, so the fact that I can. I've never been off the Hot Milk Supremacy hype train, but I'm solidly very much back
Choo-choo!
on the race. Yeah, exactly. Full steam ahead.
While we're here, there is a Loveless feature on the album. One of the last tracks on this album gets the Loveless feature. So that's hype. Yeah, I am so stoked for this album. And A Call to the Void is such an awesome name for a debut album. It's just an album in general. And I feel like it's so on brand for Hot Milk, just the way that they have so much like we don't give a fuck type of energy that just naming their album A Call to the Void. It's so on brand. God, I'm so fucking excited. Let's talk about our final single for the month, Concrete Castles, and their third single this year, Jealousy. Derek, how you feeling?
Let me take a look at the rest of the singles, but I think that this might be my favorite of all that they've released so far for this album cycle. It is.
Okay.
Guys, I got a take for you.
Oh God, I'm ready for this.
Do you think the intro reminds you? Well, it reminds me of "Burning Out" by Bad Omens.
Don't know.
I'm gonna say no.
Damn.
I'm gonna say no.
Damn.
I feel like this is too pop to be like associated
Pretty
with
poppy
that
song.
I know Burning Out is one of their more poppy Bad Omens songs still. This is my least favorite of the 3 singles they have dropped this year, but not by much.
Damn.
Because I'm gonna be real, I think Concrete Castles are on the strongest run of singles of any band this year. It's ridiculous.
I will give you a tentative agree.
Name me another band that has released 3 songs as good as these 3 singles. I'll wait. I will wait.
Token?
Dead Lakes.
I'm waiting. I'm still waiting. Yeah, no, like just this album is shaping up. I know I said going into this year, I wanted to be more secretive about like what my top 10 album of the year list was gonna end up. Nah, I can't hold it in, bro. Concrete Castles are just on a fucking tear, and this is like one of the easiest walk-ins for a probable top 10 album of the year at this point.
I wish I could echo that. I don't know. I think that they still have the potential to do it. I'm gonna throw another one in there. Cautiously optimistic. And only because I very much enjoy Concrete Castles when they're at maybe their poppiest rather than their pop rockiest. And I think
And
they
I very much
really-
enjoy them at their pop rockiest.
Right. So you've been leaning more because what in 2021 this landed at your number 10 and my number 8.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So we kind of swapped a little bit.
Yeah,
You
we're
know, you're
switching places a
higher
little
than I
bit.
am. Yeah.
This new album cycle is leaning more into the rock. It's like a pendulum, so
Yeah.
it's swinging back and forth between us.
Like this song is still fantastic. I've still got faith. I'm a little less sure of their spot in my top 10 at the end of the year than I was before when they were dropping on the singles, and especially Porcelain. I need another Porcelain to really rope me in and give me the ability to make top 10.
Just the vocal delivery on the chorus of "I think I let jealousy get the best of me" is it's just an earworm. But I mean, basically every single chorus this band has ever written is an earworm. So like, I don't know. Just I know we were talking about it with Honey Revenge and like pop rock, like Get On It. Concrete Castles. If you like pop rock and you're not listening to Concrete Castles, easiest guarantee of my fucking life that you will love this band.
Oh yeah.
That takes us to our EPs and albums for the month. Actually, our first EPs of the year, because we did not talk about a single EP in our combined January and February recap.
No way. Seriously?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did not talk about a single EP.
That's
Only albums
crazy.
left.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So we got 3 EPs this month for March. It could have been 4, but I made the decision to cut one of them. For time's sake. You're welcome. Let's talk about the sophomore EP from New Saviors, Personal Hell. This is the first time we've talked about them since they dropped Faking Fine in late 2021. I don't remember what you guys thought of that song, but Faking Fine was my favorite song by New Saviors, and it still is. Female fronted, kind of metalcore, post-hardcore type of stuff. I love the delivery on the chorus and Faking Fine still. Instrumentally, it's great. There's a bit of electronics in it. Great song. The other 2 singles since then, My Demise and Monsters, weren't doing a ton for me. But then the EP drops, and we get Bleed and Personal Hell. And my god, Bleed is pissed off. Holy shit. It is, you get an absolutely insane riff, and a disgusting breakdown in Bleed, hitting some gnarly lows, which like typically I wouldn't even like something that goes that low, but by the time it hits, I'm already so into this song, into my I'm fucking pissed playlist, that I kind of don't even care. And Personal Hell is another really solid song. Just overall, very impressed with this EP. A big step up from their debut EP, which I don't even remember the name of. It wasn't super memorable. It had like 1 or 2 okay songs, but this is a lot more memorable to me. Again, another really small band there, sitting at 1,500 monthly listeners right now.
Jeez.
So definitely a lot smaller than they deserve, in my opinion. I don't know if you guys got a chance to listen to this, but I definitely recommend at least giving Faking Fine and Bleed a listen.
I didn't get a chance to get to it.
I didn't either, but now I will. I've been sold, and hopefully at least a couple other people will be too.
I'm sorry, Jake.
I didn't expect I didn't expect any of you guys to really listen to this, so I just wanted to talk about it. Yeah. I wanted to talk about it because I still think Faking Fine is an incredible single, and I was really impressed with the 2 new songs that came with this EP drop. So let's move on, because we have a lot to talk about still. compared to January and February, which left us a little bit high and dry in terms of the albums. Oh boy, March did not. But we still got 2 more EPs to talk about. Let's talk about the debut EP from World Gone Cold, self-titled World Gone Cold. This is kind of a super group.
Oh, for real? Tell me about it.
Comprised of members of let me pull it up real quick because I don't want to mess it up. Comprised of members from POD, Demon Hunter, Disciple, The Letter Black, and Attack Attack.
Oh, it's a Christian
Wild
supergroup.
supergroup. Yeah, it is.
Either way, this bang.
That's some good stuff.
Unfortunately, that's about as much as I can say about it because for as good as it is, all 7 songs on this kind of blend together. Unfortunately.
So if I listen
I
to
think
one, I've
these
listened to
are-
all of them.
I will
Kinda.
disagree and say that Left to Save and Again are different enough where they don't. Especially the fucking guitar riffs and Again. It's so good. Opposites Attract was obviously the lead single going into this.
Lead
so
single and the best song on the EP.
I say no, but okay. It obviously sets the tone for the EP itself. I think it does a really good job kind of setting their sound. But yeah, just kind of re-listening to it. I don't have much to say about Apology and Reality. But Left to Save is a really good song, has some really good inclusions going into it. And then again, instrumentally is really good. It's kind of like a very high energy rock song with some harsher vocals in the background that I really enjoy. I would say it's a toss up between those two for my favorites, but in no way do I think it's like anything generic. I think it's like pretty different from a lot of stuff, and while yes, it sounds pretty similar, so it does blend together. I think it's still pretty good.
I also think this EP was a victim of its release date. Given the other albums that it released on the same day with, there's like if this releases another day and it's like the only thing in my playlist, like I am all over this EP. Because every time I went back to this EP to be like, why did I not enjoy this EP as much as I wanted to? I'm like, damn, that shit was really fucking good. And then I don't listen to it again for a week or more. But like every time I go back to it, I'm like really impressed and like I am mad at myself for not enjoying it as much as I wanted to because there is a lot of really good stuff on here. I'm going to echo what you had to say about Left to Save and Again. Like, of the non-singles, those 2 are the ones that I remember the most. Opposites Attract, my favorite song on this EP. Fantastic Queen vocals. You get a pretty sick breakdown in that song as well. But again, a lot of these songs do kind of just blend together for me and struggle to stand out and didn't leave too much of an impact on me. But banger EP, highly recommend. Very contradicting thoughts from me on this one.
I think that brings us to our final EP of the month.
And
which
probably the
is-
most controversial.
I would say so too. Yeah, Dark Waves, the newest EP from Attack.
Just attack? Just one attack?
Oh, did the second attack not go through?
One attack.
Shit, now I'm at 3 attacks.
Attack, attack! Exclamation point.
True.
That's the band.
All right,
All
Jake.
right.
Let's
That's an
hear it.
exclamation. I love this EP. This is like... do not take this comparison for how much I love this EP, but this is like Memphis Mayfire level quality metalcore. How
No,
wrong am I?
You're wrong.
I don't think you're wrong, but I think it's a matter of how positively we view Memphis Mayfire level metalcore.
Let's talk about
I like their latest
Remade in
album.
Misery. Remade in Misery, bang. That album is incredible.
Yes.
I don't think this EP is anywhere near as good, but the quality, like the mixing and production value and the vocals, the instrumentation, it is so crisp on every single song on this EP. Dark Waves deserves to be all over Octane if it isn't already. It is just an incredible radio rock anthem with some harsh vocals in the breakdown. Heal Myself to I don't know, KMSTL, I forget what that stands for at this point.
Just
That song's incredible. Paralyzed Until We Meet Again left me underwhelmed when it dropped as a single, and then I hear it in this EP and I'm like, holy shit, that chorus is incredible.
It is. Good choice.
And then Killing for Sport, probably my second favorite song on this EP. Immediately into my I'm fucking pissed playlist for that one. The delivery on Fuck You, bitch, is incredible. I fucking love it.
Wow, that's lyric of the year right there.
They need to revisit. They need to redo these vocals with Jake on instead.
No, please don't.
Please
do not.
I think you just made up for whatever the hell
Jake's
that was
singing,
earlier.
Jake's singing career is gonna take off.
I am actually going to ban myself off of Spotify if it does. But nah, dude, just the delivery on that "fuck you, bitch" is an instant into the "I'm fucking pissed" playlist. It's so good. The other delivery on that song of "Gather around all the wicked as you please, come see a man fall down to his knees." Just man, it's just such a good fucking pissed off song to like stomp around in anger to. And then Out of Time, the closer on this EP as well. It's just another solid radio anthem. Similar to Dark Waves, not as good, mostly clean vocals. I don't love it as much. Dark Waves just a lot catchier of a song in my opinion, but this EP really surprised me in how much I enjoyed it. This is a lot better than Long Time No See as far as I'm concerned, and I know I'm gonna you guys are gonna disagree with me on that one.
Yeah,
but
that's an interesting take.
I think Attack Attack was better, or New Era Attack Attack is better when they were embracing the memes, not being all edgy and. I like that. The whole EP is the Long Time No See is just fun, and I feel like there's a lot more variety on it compared to this. This feels like the same song 5 times.
Right out of my notes. Notes.
You're talking to the same guy that put Memphis Mayfire in my top 2 albums of last year.
I had it in my top 10 as well.
It nearly
You're right.
My top 15. Here's what I think the problem is I think that I hear a Long Time No See and I go, this is the new era, right? I hear this, and outside of maybe a couple electronic elements and Out of Time, this just feels like more generic metal.
You can get this somewhere else, yeah.
Exactly. And as much as I love individual songs in here, like for instance, Paralyzed and Out of Time, the rest is just okay. And it bothers me that this is the same band that gave us songs like Dear Wendy or Fade With Me. You know, that
Fade With Me was a banger though. Like this is definitely very different. I Fade With Me was also like the only song on that EP that really stuck out. Unfortunately. Well, Kauai Cowboys too, but you know, that's
of course. This has given us 5 good songs at the expense of Attack Attack's identity.
That's a very fair statement. I will not disagree with that.
Look, I wanted, if I have to get an EP, fine, but I want an album full of not even like Icy Stars level of electronic core, but something that resembles the original band. And I feel like Long Time No See accomplished that by giving kind of that older synth sound with a modern twist to it. This just feels like generic metalcore, and I don't love that because again, like Jacob said, I can get this anywhere, right? Like, I don't know. It's a good EP, but I would even go so far as to say it's a great EP, but it's not a great Attack EP. And it's not quite what I want out of this band when they've proven that even with their debut EP 10 years after their last material, that they could do so much better and so much more creative than this. I
think the other thing is that I am much less attached to the Attack identity. compared
Oh,
to you guys?
I am not touched at all I
Yeah,
know is
don't get me
Stick,
wrong.
Stickly.
I don't give a shit
Okay,
about old Attack
okay.
Attack. I could not care less.
All
All I
right,
know is Stick,
never
Stickly.
mind that.
Yeah, exactly. And but they
Like I know
got
this
a
band is supposed to
brand.
be the goofy kind of electronic core esque band.
Yeah.
You know
But-
Bill Murray was part of this band, so
Yeah, that's where Bill Murray comes from, Jake.
At
A
the
little
end
bit
of
of
the
lore
day,
for you.
yeah, I know. At the end of the day, this is just 5 really solid metalcore / radio rock adjacent songs that I would absolutely throw on repeat.
Jake, Caleb Shomo came from this band too. You know that, right?
I know, yeah.
We're pulling
Now we
out
know
all
why
the
Jake
lore.
likes this band.
This is so funny. We're pulling out all the lore to just make him hate this band more.
Jake, do you know Austin Carlisle, former of Mice and Men? He was in this band too.
Yeah, Jake. Stop liking this
Oh,
movie
I
so
know.
much, Jake.
I had never listened to that era of Mice and Men, so I don't care. You can at least hurt my soul a little bit with the bear tooth. Anyway, we should start talking about the albums that we got, because we got a lot of
Yes.
albums.
Yes.
10 of them, in fact. We're fucked.
There's 10?
There's
Uh,
10.
Yeah.
Oh. We're gonna be
Luckily, I
here
think a
long.
few of them are going to be quick, but a few of them are not.
All right, Justin, take it away.
Take us away.
Yep. Guys, I'm back on my bullshit. We got a new band from the podcast, all the way from Brazil, metalcore. We've got Axty with their album Unbreakable.
I didn't know they're from
All right,
Brazil. That's cool.
Before we started, before we went live with this episode, we all revealed to Justin that we have not listened to this album. So Justin is here to convince us on why this album slaps.
Yes, we fucked up.
It's from Brazil.
We fucked up.
That's the first
Even-
thing.
Well, true.
Even
Yeah.
if I've heard a couple of songs, like maybe 3 or 4 from this album, my initial thing is I recommend this album. So I can't wait to hear the perspective of somebody who's heard it all.
I can
Oh.
only vouch for the 2 songs that I've heard: "Roses for You" and I think "Without You." I "Roses with You" stuck with me. The other one didn't stick with me as much, but but without even having heard the album, I'm going to vouch for it as well.
So
Justin, actually say why. Explain why we are preemptively vouching for this album.
this album blends a really weird style of like vibey post-hardcore mixed with very, very small elements of deathcore, to put it lightly. You've got the first like 4 songs, which all kind of have a similar vibe to them, where you've got almost like a very bouncy atmosphere to them. You've got Forever Yours is got a really good, like, very almost like electronic guitar riff. This album in general is infused with electronics. You get some really heavy dubstep almost drops with some very rough gutturals that surprisingly, like, someone like me that doesn't like gutturals at all, I usually would be put off by them, but I was surprised, and they work really well in some of these songs. 2 of the ones that I specify are "Roses for You" and "Without You." Those 2 had really short but very different breakdowns. They happen in the same spaces, and funnily enough, the songs are the exact same time. So it's a little bit
That is
weird
funny,
that
actually.
they follow like one another. You get "Far From Reach," which is a general instrumental song. It works to kind of break the pace between those 2 songs. Then you get like a line of the like 3 heaviest songs on the album. I say heaviest kind of lightly. It's not that they instrumentally they're heavy, it's the vocal delivery, and you get very harsh, almost like very unclean vocals through some of the songs, not all of them. You still get a very crisp, very clear identity with the vocals and like the choruses. You get some really good choruses here. 77 I think is the heaviest, I want to say. It may also be Dark Eyes. Those 2 kind of blend together a little bit on repeat listens. Then you transition to Not Afraid to Die, which is the slow song on the album, and a potential would-be closer, had it not be for like one of the best closers of the year so far, which is a cover of Misery Business by Paramore, and probably one of the best covers I've listened to in a while. You wouldn't think they would be able to do it well, because
Right?
Paramore's got a really defined sound, and especially like going into this album, listening to like the first 3 songs, or even throughout the rest of the album, you wouldn't expect them to do well at all. And there's no uncleans in the cover at all. It's straight pop punk style, and it works super well. It's easily been the one song that I've had on repeat from this album. The one I have most plays on. It's always in my on repeats. It's such a good song. Um, Roses for You, Forever Yours, and Unbreakable have all kind of just been intermeeting in my playlists. Just always really good to turn to. Honestly, I think this is one of the most replayable albums. Just top to bottom. I don't think it's one that you like ever would really skip a track for. You obviously get, depending on your taste, you get some kind of lower ends, especially with like toward the middle. I'm not too fan of the middle portion of it, but once you get through like I think half of 77 into the rest of the album, I think you really find a really good pace with how this album is. And it's only like what, 10 tracks? It's super short, only 32 minutes.
I'm sold.
Hey,
That's
Love
what I'm
it.
saying. I mean, I knew I needed to check this out from the get-go, but
Yeah.
it's got a super different sound. Not to like a lot of most of this stuff, and I think it's probably the most unique off of what we're going to be talking about here tonight. So I think it's definitely a really good sell for anyone that really likes post-hardcore, but wants like a little something different. A lot of post-hardcore kind of blends more into like the poppy style. You also get some that go right into the heavier metalcore, deathcore style. This kind of bridges the gap between the two, where I think it's very digestible, and I think anyone could really enjoy this.
I've only heard, I think there's only one song that I remember listening to for sure, Roses for You. And I have a very strong feeling that I'm going to enjoy this album when I eventually get around to it.
My recommendations immediately would be Misery Business, Roses for You, but I know there's people on here.
Oh no, if I'm listening to this, I'm listening to the full album front to back.
Right. Well, I'm just saying like general, like in case like for any listeners that want like a taste test
Gotcha.
of the album, like give Roses for You a shot, because that's pretty much going to be what you get for the album. Misery Business, if you want to hear that really good Paramore cover, and if you want to like get into more heavier stuff, probably Dark Eyes. But honestly, like this album, top to bottom, is really good.
All right then.
That's a tally mark for all the weird fucking bands I bring to the podcast this year.
Yep.
That's Brazil. Yep. I need my own map now to be like, okay, I've hit.
Oh, that's a good idea.
I've hit like Brazil. I've hit fucking Serbian metalcore. Like, what next? Nova Scotia. Let's try and find something there.
He's got his own travel map, but solely for post-hardcore.
Man's like Nova Scotia is like some foreign country. That's literally my country,
might as well
man. No, that's Newfoundland. What do you mean?
Yeah, fair.
All right then.
All right then. Another controversial one. Here we go.
Ooh, you're saying that has me concerned. Invent anime.
Cut
it out in post.
Invent anime.
Man, have dropped their newest album, Heavener.
As far as I'm concerned, they've dropped a new song called False Meridian.
It's so surprising me that you like that as much as you do.
Me too, honestly.
Right? Like, so I'm hearing a controversial, the C word being dropped by Jacob over here.
The C word.
Jacob, why is this controversial? What am I missing here? Tell me what I need to be thinking.
I will give you the most controversial opinion.
Okay.
I've seen this band live twice.
Okay.
One time, they played without their vocalist.
Weird, but okay.
The time they played without their vocalist, I thought they were better. That pretty much sums up my opinion on this band.
Wow. Okay, I'm with it. So tell me why. Did you for full transparency, did you hear this album front to back?
Yeah, a few times.
Okay. So what are we feeling? What part of this vocal?
This is their best album,
Agreed.
but it's not for me. I don't know. I'm really picky with my prog metalcore, I guess. Like I like some Era, I like some North Lane. And then that's about it, honestly. I don't think there's anything else. What else do I listen to? Maybe like one or two Periphery songs.
One or two might be a little generous, but yeah.
No, I like Reptile, the 18-minute one.
You got it.
No, I love Reptile and Blood Eagle.
You picked one Periphery song to like, and it was the 18-minute one.
Yes, I like Blood Eagle and Reptile. Those are the two Periphery songs I have saved.
So anyway, this is not an Animate album.
So,
yeah.
I guess. Yeah. Go.
No, that was it.
Oh, again. I'm gonna kind of echo what you're saying.
Do you want me to say my opinion on this album before you go into why you love it?
No, because I think that my love for this album has been outshined by my love for another album that we're going to talk later about.
Oh god.
And so I have thoughts really quickly because because I think that I agree with Jacob in that I am very picky with my prog metalcore as well. And I think that for whatever reason, bands are just dropping albums of songs that I like and then fucking off. Because I didn't like really, I mean, I heard Graveview. I heard As the Sun Sleeps Like It Never Was, or As It Never Was. And I didn't really love anything that I was hearing there. And then I think Heavener is a perfect track for track, phenomenal album. And I feel that same sort of way about Era and their self-titled. And I think for whatever reason, these bands are dropping one-off albums that I can love before they might go back to being something that I don't enjoy as much. What I will say is that I think that this, alongside one other album that we're going to talk about later, are joining Northlane's Obsidian in the conversation of albums that are going to define the scene moving forward for the day. And I think that for some of its faults, this album as a whole is probably the best progressive metalcore album that has ever released.
Okay.
I would challenge you to find a better one.
Drift by Era or Alien by Northlane. Those are my two answers.
Okay. I'm with you. I disagree, but I'm with you. I think that those albums, both in their sequential order, built up to what we get here. But I wanna give the floor to Jake for a second because I'm interested to see how he feels about this with everything removed. Because he is not traditionally a progressive metalcore guy.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's similar with like Era. I only liked a handful of songs off that Era album, and it's the same story here. I am taking my Without a Whisper and False Meridian and moving on. I do also have Purity Weeps and Void Surfacing in my playlist. I haven't gone back to those two songs nearly as much. I think they're fine. Like they're progressive metalcore songs. They don't do anything offensive enough for me to dislike them, which half of this album kind of does. Immolation of Night, Elysium, those types of songs. Just those types of songs are just not for me. False Meridian should also not be a song for me, but for whatever reason, I love it. And I don't know why, but I'm able to just kind of shake off the harsh vocals in the song. And like if you asked me what like If you asked me to tell you a word in the song, I could not tell you.
Dude, that's the
Yeah.
problem with prog. The
I could not
lyrics
tell
always
you
like
a word in any of the harsh vocal deliveries, and like I would have to listen to the song again to like remember, oh, that's what the chorus is saying.
I can't relate to
However,
prog lyrics.
instrumentally, False Meridian is unbelievable.
That's what I'm saying. Man.
The riffs are incredible, but I think really, Derek, you were gonna highlight the breakdown if I wasn't. The atmosphere in the breakdown of False Meridian is like borderline unparalleled.
I think that maybe not as strongly across the entire album, but that's a theme that really sells Heavener for me, is that because I agree with you, Jacob. For the most part, prog is either unlistenable or listenable, but you can't discern it. In that you listen to it for fun because you enjoy the way that it sounds, but at the end of the day, you can't relate.
That's why
Yeah,
I
I
feel
think-
like Drift
Yeah.
and Alien are like exceptions. Less so Alien, but Drift especially. Actually, no, Alien is pretty emotional.
So, I guess for me, and maybe this is definitely coming out of personal taste, I couldn't connect with Drift or Alien at all in the same way that I connect with Heavener.
Mm.
So I think that maybe with those three, it's a matter of personal taste and where you feel and how you connect with the sound and the lyrics accordingly. Because for me, Heavener is this perfect emotional package that even with Era's self-titled, as much as you all know I loved it when it dropped, that it didn't really necessarily at times feel like a cohesive album. This, for the most part, the songs and the lyrical themes all flow into one each other really well. And so, even in the moments where I think that this isn't as strong, maybe on songs like Reverie, which I think fit perfectly into the context of the album, but as a song maybe are weaker, or Emberglow, that if I treat this album like a journey and one long track and experience, I think that it really yields itself to being an incredible album to listen to and experience front to back, with lyricism talking about longing and loss and gaining what was lost and then losing it again and feeling with that pain. And I think that emotionally and sonically, if you take the time to delve past its prog surface, you really get into the meat of this album, which is its emotional draw, which is hard, admittedly, when you're hearing these prog riffs and these breakdowns, which are like, holy shit, like I've got this stank face half the time with how heavy it is. But there's something really special about this album to be had in terms of how it makes me feel. And again, that's entirely subjective, but there's a lot of atmosphere here. And I think that if you feel this album, the atmosphere lends itself to that. If you're not feeling this album, the atmosphere detracts from it and makes you feel kind of lost in this 50-minute listen. Does that feel fair to say?
Yeah.
Because I feel like at times this album kind of blurs together, and if you're not really feeling it, it can be kind of painful to chug through some of these songs. Because I mean, it's a 50-minute prog album. A 50-minute prog album is a hard sell. And if you're not connecting with it and you're not finding that piece to it, absolutely. I mean, the same reason that I had to make poor Jake sit stone faced through that Era self-titled 2 years ago.
Hey, I enjoyed a handful of songs off of that.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they were the 3 opening tracks, and then there was 9 more after that. But...
Right? Yeah, everything after Gungrave is a blur. Like,
yeah.
I think that songs like the transition from the end of Purity Weeps into that incredible riff at the start of Void Surfacing are moments that are objectively like, okay, any fan can enjoy this. I think that truly Heavener is either going to end up on people's most disappointing albums list or their top 10 lists with very few in between, solely because it's very proggy. And if you're not a fan of prog and you're not loving this, then you're not going to take that step further to connect with. For me, as a whole, even if there weren't specific lyrics that I could connect to, I could feel the emotion being transmitted through those lyrics because I took that step further and went past that proggy surface, and I love it. And again, that's not going to be for everybody because this album is really proggy. I mean, it's Invent Animate. They're like the kings of progressive metalcore besides Periphery, as far as I'm concerned. And I haven't loved anything from them besides this, but I get to this, damn. I've got every single track on this album saved. And I think that for what it is, I think Periphery could take notes from this. I think that Eric could take notes from this. I think that this is a genre defined. And the fact that Invent Animate haven't broken through before kind of baffles me. But I think that they've introduced more cleans now. And I'm interested to see, if nothing else, where this band goes moving forward, because with the introduction of more cleans, they have the ability to break through the mainstream. Like Without a Whisper is already getting play on Sirius Octane. I think it's their most popular song right now. Yeah, absolutely. They're at 1.2 million, which is past Immolation of Night, which I believe, besides Shade Astray, was their lead single. So there's potential here. The singing's improved, the instrumentation is improved. If you can get past that really technical proggy surface, there's a lot to love here. And at that point, it's up to you to connect to it in the way that I have. For some people, absolutely. For others, maybe not.
I can't remember. Did this vocalist do Graveyard, or was that the previous?
Yes, it's the
He
same
did?
vocalist every time. It's the same cleans and uncleans, I believe.
Okay.
For
So
both
that was
vocalists,
his.
yeah.
This is his second album then.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
This is leagues above Graveview, by the way. I mean, like, just
Oh,
leaps
100%.
and bounds.
100%.
Dude took 2 years to learn how to sing, and he pulled it off with incredible finesse. I've seen him with Without a Whisper.
Do you what is the name? What is like the? It feels like the title of the tracks are like Elden Ring.
Right? Yeah, no, exactly.
Elden Ring
You know,
titles.
I don't think that has anything to do with the album, and more so with prog as a genre. I feel like prog lends
True.
itself to being complicated for no reason.
That's true.
I mean, look at all the song names on Era self-titled.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there are some things with, like, I would say Purity Weeps and Without a Whisper, and maybe Shade Astray, Absence Personate, that I see relating to the themes. The rest of them, maybe I haven't delved enough deep. Who knows? Who the fuck knows what they mean? Like, good luck. Good luck to anybody wanting to unpack it. But I think that also, too, is a testament to the album and the genre, that maybe you could unpack it and find something. This, abstracting away all the details, I think this is definitely an album that has a lot of nuance to it that you're either going to attach yourself to or feel polarized from. For me, I attach myself to it. For people who don't love prog, maybe not. For people who are on the fence, one way or the other, you know, this isn't something that I feel like objectively has a lot to love one way or the other. But for people who do enjoy it, they're going to love it. And for people who don't, I feel like they're going to push themselves away from it. And I personally love albums like that because it provides for a lot of interesting discourse. But in terms of top 10 material, I don't know. For me, probably. For you guys, maybe not.
Maybe not. I feel like that's being generous.
maybe might be a generous word. Yeah. It's my one of taking a look at this album, probably two albums that I feel have more to say about. And I think that might just be by virtue of the fact that there's so much going on. But I think that if nothing else, through this album, in contrast to Graveview, Invent Animate have defined themselves as definitely a band to watch, who are finding exponential improvement from their previous material. And I think that I want to put them in the same conversation as Bad Omens, in terms of they have been so much better than the previous material. I want to see how far they can stretch their next album and see exactly where they go.
I don't like the Bad Omens comparison,
Yeah,
but I like the point that you're making.
Yeah, I will take that. I'll take that.
Jacob, talk about some deathcore.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? The reason I mentioned Elden Ring, because I know for a fact that this next album we're talking about has Elden Ring references. Chelsea Grin have released their latest album, Suffer in Heaven, which is the second in their two-part series, I guess. Title The first one titled Suffer in Hell, and this one titled Suffer in Heaven. We didn't talk about Suffer in Hell because I didn't like it.
So what
Like,
you're
that is
trying
the
to say is that
qualifier.
we're talking about Suffer in Heaven because you did like it.
Yes, we're going from heavener to heaven. Suffer in Heaven. I don't know what that means, but yeah, this is a lot better than Suffer in Hell. I think I don't think it tops Eternal Nightmare for me, but it's really interesting to see what Chelsea Grin is doing. It's kind of like everybody's like all eyes are on Lorna Shore right now for deathcore,
Mhm.
and to see Chelsea Grin doing like the complete opposite in a genre that is very hard to be different in.
Yeah.
It feels like everybody is leaning towards like very orchestral, like Lorna Shore, and you almost see like the opposite where Chelsea Grin is leaning more towards like electronics.
Mhm.
And I guess it's kind of influenced by Darko, which is Tom Barber's side project, right? You can definitely see a lot of influence from that in these songs. And you also see it in like even like the length of the tracks and the album. This album is 26 minutes. How long is the Lorna Shore album? Over an hour, right?
I believe so. Yeah, an hour and 4 minutes, hour and 5 minutes, something ridiculous and unnecessary.
It's I think I think this is a lot better than what Lorna Shore is doing right now. It's
I agree.
there's actually variety, and they're pushing the genre in a different direction. And also there's like literally at the beginning of the album, that Leave With Us, immediately you have a stank face. um But what really caught my attention for this, and we didn't get to talk about it last month or last episode for because we had to make some cuts, but Sing to the Grave has been in my playlist since it came out. I don't remember when it came out. I want to say January. Maybe? I can't remember. Anyways, hearing that song is kind of what hyped me up for this album. I don't think any of the other singles really did it for me. And I mentioned the Elden Ring references, Orc March, Yorm the Giant. How do you say that? Anyway, um, a lot of. Sorry, my dog came in. um, a lot of like video game references. It sounds like anyway. Like you have literally at the beginning of Orc March, it literally sounds like something from Lord of the Rings. It literally sounds like those horns they have. You know what I'm talking about?
Mhm.
I'm not slandering Lorna, Eddie. Okay. I like Lorna Shore, but I like Chelsea Grin more. That's what I'm gonna say. Um
He's not talking in the voice. He's actually in chat, by the way.
yeah, I am talking
I
to
I love the timing of that. Just like, fuck you, Eddie.
Yeah, I think this album is it's it's perfect length. I think it's yeah, like I said, it's pushing the genre in a direction that not everybody it's going the opposite direction of what seems to be what everybody everybody seems to be doing. And I think it's a really cool and interesting way of doing it. I also think the splitting of the albums was a good idea too. I don't know. What I'm wondering is, could they have made like a super album taking the best songs of Suffer in Hell and Suffer in Heaven? You could almost see this almost like a deluxe, being like however many tracks. There's 9 on this one. I don't know what I mean on Suffer in Hell, but
I think 8 or 9 as well. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's kind of what I want to ask you, as somebody who has listened to bits and pieces of both and not the full for each. Do you think that this could have been a concept album put together of both, or is it truly like it would have been too long, in the same vein of Alorna, and you would have to take the best parts of both?
I think the reason it's split is almost it's very experimental, in my opinion. Like the whole album seems that way. Like it's pushing Darko into Chelsea Grin as like a tester. And I feel like the short length is to one, be different from Lorna Shore. Maybe it wasn't intentional, but it seems intentional to me. Yeah, I don't know. I think you could. I think if you put them together, it wouldn't be good. You'd have to take the best of both to make a super album, in my opinion. Jake, what do you think about this album?
That's all.
That's great. I think you guys should all listen to like the last minute of Leave With Us, and I just want to record your faces, just like.
Absolutely not, but I appreciate the sentiment.
Note that down for the next Hivemind meetup.
We're gonna all pick our 3 favorite deathcore songs and sit in a circle and make Justin listen to it.
when we got
I actually have a song pick for that. It's the first opening minute to whatever that fucking Lorna Shore song is. That's entirely instrumental.
You know that image with the girl with her ears, like her hands over her ears, and the guy with the bugle behind her? That's just you 3 with fucking deathcore to me.
Bro, that was us when we were playing the Hivemind Essentials playlist and Holocaust Australia came on in the car.
Sorry, guys.
Jesus.
All right, I think we can move on. Chelsea Grin, good.
So, compared to my comment for this Chelsea Grin album, that's about all I had to say about that album. This next album, I have a lot more to say about. Let's talk about the band that has kind of defined 2023 as a year for me so far. Phantom Elite and their new album, Blue Blood.
Before you get into talking about that, I just want to mention the fucking string of albums we have, where like each of us is.
I was just about to mention that.
We all got our one album.
We all had one.
I had been thinking that since you started on Chelsea Grin, I was like, damn, we actually all have one.
I literally just thought of that now, Justin. It's like, wow, it's Jake's turn now.
my turn to go crazy over an album, huh? This is 10 absolutely incredible songs. I think if there is a weak point, it is either This Sick World or Laid with Fines, and either way, both of those songs I think are great. But this album is incredibly diverse, and for as much as I want to say this album feels like a collection of 10 singles, the diversity that this album brings also makes it feel like an album almost, which is a weird dichotomy. This album opens up with Skin of My Teeth, which I will forever remember them teasing that song with. This is the lowest tuned song that we've ever made, and that had me incredibly hyped for Skin of My Teeth, and boy did it deliver. That song has a fantastic instrumental riff down breakdown type of thing. Inner Beast, my most listened to song this year. I said that last episode. It's still true. Still a contender for one of my favorite songs of this year. And then you lead into This Sick World and Birdcage, where they're both very experimental. This Sick World kind of has a electronic influence to it. It's a little weird at first, but something that I've grown to enjoy. Birdcage is a slow build song that eventually just explodes in the very final chorus outro type of thing, where the instruments finally all kick in. Then you get into one of my favorite songs on this album, other than the singles, Apex, which instrumentally is insane, but also lyrically is some of my favorite lyrics of the year and vocal delivery. Before the breakdown in the second verse, you get enjoy but beware. A villain can also have nightmares. Before the guitars just go fucking bonkers. And then before her vocalist, I forget her name, but she starts screaming every day is the same, every thought on the way, am I going insane, but faster and faster and harsher. Before you get into the final chorus, or not even the final chorus, you get into the next chorus. Speaking of the chorus, one of my favorite lines of the year so far, not for like the meaning of it, but just listen. Your reptile blood has kept you safe, but honey, I'm like a hawk in a world of snakes. That shit is raw as fuck.
Wait, is this a message for Mark Zuckerberg?
Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, no, Apex is an absolutely incredible song. Definitely a standout on this album. Would highly recommend checking that out as a taste tester if you're interested in giving this album a listen. Towards the end of the album, you get Day Dark and Blue Blood. Day Dark being probably my favorite non-single on this album, has it incorporates those electronic elements perfectly, and I also love the delivery in the chorus of bury all the pain and keep on dreaming. Just a very fun song in general with some instrumentation that I love. Then you get to the 7-minute and 46-second song of Blue Blood, the title track. The song that I was by far the most scared about going into it, because their previous album, Titanium, again, the title track, Titanium, was a 7-minute epic of a song, but I did not enjoy it. So I was scared that Blue Blood was going to ruin this album for me. Thankfully, it doesn't. Blue Blood is a rare exception of a song that is able to be as long as it is while also keeping my attention the entire way through. It stays diverse enough to never get boring and never make me want to doze off and skip to just start listening to another song, because it's like, oh, there's still 3 more minutes in this song. I want to just listen to something else now.
I raise you the summoning.
I raise you, Blue Blood. Yeah, no, Blue Blood also, it eventually builds. You get this like super long, drawn out build that probably lasts for like 45 seconds to a minute before you almost get this, like, I'm not going to call it a bleh, but it's like almost a bleh. Almost. It's sick. The guitar just like super low string just lets it ring out for like 10 seconds. It's just, I fucking love Blue Blood as a song and as a title track, and I'm so glad that I wasn't disappointed by it. And then Black Sunrise, not one of my favorite songs on this album, but it does a fine job as a closer. It has an uplifting energy to close this album off with. And for as much praise that I have to give this album, I cannot tell you what the fuck this album is supposed to mean. I can't tell you if there is any meaning behind any of these songs combined. That's why I kind of let it off as like it's kind of a collection of singles. But I still love it. And if there is a deeper meaning in here, clearly I haven't listened to this album enough still. Which is a problem, because I've listened to this album a lot. Yeah, this is another female-fronted band that deserves to be in the spotlight a lot more. I feel like they're on a record label associated with a lot of other like symphonic metal bands that are kind of generic, and Phantom Elite are anything but that.
I listened to Skin of My Teeth. God,
Skin of My Teeth.
dyslexia. Um, and I thought it was really good, apart from the vocals. I thought it was like
Fair.
it was a good metalcore song, but then I heard the vocals come in and it's like, oh man, this feels like
And then yeah, that's kind of what the rest of the album is, and I think Derek just went away for a second, but I'm pretty sure that's the exact comment that Derek would make too. That instrumentally, great, but not vibing with the vocals, and that was me with their 2021 album Titanium. The instrumentation is incredible, but vocally it was almost like too symphonic metal-esque, whereas I feel like this new album leans a lot more into that metalcore post-hardcore type of sound, and I love it for that. But it definitely, the vocals definitely, there is like, it's not for everyone. If you haven't heard Apex, I would recommend giving that song a try. Not that I expect the vocals to really sound too different there, but Apex is arguably the heaviest song on the album. So that's where my next recommendation would go. But yeah, no, this band has defined my early 2023, and I think that's what I'm going to remember these first few months of the year. When looking back on 2023, I'm going to think of how much Phantom Elite were at the forefront of my music tastes this year so far. That's kind of all I have to say. Derek, do you have any thoughts on this Phantom Elite album before we move on?
I can't give it to you because I didn't listen to it. I'm sorry.
That's totally fine. That's totally fine.
But I will say, you have sold me. It feels like every month since I was waiting for internet, I've been behind on albums and I've been waiting for other people to sell me on them. And I think you've done a good job of it, especially given how strong the singles were for this. So you've got me. Whether or not I will give you my thoughts at the end of the year has yet to be seen. But
I would be surprised if this makes any sort of end of year award for any of you guys, to be honest.
For now, I'll listen to it. And that's as far as I'll give you.
I'll take it. Let's move on then, because we still got a lot more albums to talk about. All Time Low have released their new album, Tell Me I'm Alive. As far as I'm aware, general consensus, this album is very okay.
Yeah.
I audibly yawned.
Yeah.
Speaking of yawning, actually, Sleepwalking is still my favorite song on this album. And it's not particularly close.
Man, All Time Low sitting in the same conversation as Architects for me. Very big draw in comparison, but that I loved Wake Up Sunshine, and I love the very few select songs, if any, prior to that. And then everything they've dropped since then, I haven't loved, and it's the same thing here. I think that Wake Up Sunshine, honestly, a lot of people say they peaked in 2008, 2009, whatever. Really, I think that Wake Up Sunshine was, yeah, Justin, I know, in particular. I think, for me, Wake Up Sunshine was the pinnacle of their work, and everything since then has been kind of downhill. And I don't know if it had to do with all the media controversy or what, but this is it's just a whole lot of I listen to it and it's fine, and I don't necessarily want to skip it on first listen because I don't hate it, but I don't love it. And
there's nothing worth saving.
Yeah, I listen front to back.
I think there's a few songs worth saving.
That was an album.
I think Sleepwalking is still great, but obviously that's been in my playlist since it was a single. I really enjoyed Calm Down. Single-handedly, that line of "I'm freaking out that you're not freaking out" is just really fun, I think. And then I also enjoyed New Religion featuring Teddy Swims and The Other Side. Those are definitely the takeaways for me. But otherwise, yeah, it is very much just kind of an album that is not nearly as engaging as Wake Up Sunshine was.
It makes me sad because I had a couple of people that introduced me to All Time Low. I think obviously I'd heard of them before, because who hasn't heard you? But I was excited for the future of this band with Wake Up Sunshine, and this album has left me thoroughly disappointed. I expected more. I expected an upward trajectory. Maybe I expected too much of a band that was this far into their career as All Time Low are, in the same way that Under Oath, I feel like I've kind of plateaued, but Wake Up Sunshine gave me hope, and I feel like this album overall has kind of squandered that hope that I had, which is never a feeling that I want to feel about a band. It's maybe something I expect out of a legacy act. God, I can't believe it. All Time Low is a legacy act at this point, but yeah, I don't know. Iffy when I wanted more, and that's never how I want to be left feeling after an album.
Yeah, see, my problem is like I've listened to All Time Low since Dear Maria dropped, and I have a long history with their albums. I still remember the day, like my first ever album I bought was Don't Panic. And then when the deluxe for that dropped, I loved every single song of that. And going back to like the rest of her discography, like Dirty Work's really good, Nothing Personal. So Wrong It's Right. Still love the acoustics from that deluxe. But everything since Future Hearts just has not hit with me at all. I thought I was getting some of that when Sleepwalking dropped, but ever since then, everything else just been kind of boring. And it's been upsetting as like a long time, all time Low fan. I'm like, obviously there's sound changes with like the media and whatnot. And it's just it's unfortunately out of my control, but thankfully there's better bands that do it much better nowadays. And I can still at least appreciate like the old stuff.
Shout out Pop Punk for allowing All Time Low to be kind of shit. Like,
right. I remember a video someone posted where they showed their class Dear Maria and got their actions, and everyone was just like, ew, emo, gross, ugh. And I'm like, uncultured swine. But it's unfortunate, but what are you gonna do?
Now, speaking of bands kind of from that era,
legacy bands.
Yeah, legacy bands. Fall Out Boy put out their newest album, So Much for Stardust, which is their first album in 5 years.
Is it that long?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I need to expose myself. This is the first full Fall Out Boy album I've ever heard.
That is a fucking crime, and you need to be punished for it. I don't know to what degree, but I think you need to be locked. You need to be strapped down in a chair somewhere and forced to listen to their discography. That shit is illegal.
Next fucking Hivemind meetup, we're.
I know their radio hits. I know their radio hits. I've never heard a full album.
I can see Eddie now.
She's mauling. She's mauling and like signing up for a funeral home. I know that shit just aged her 20 years.
Everything I said about the All Time Low album speaks for this.
Less so.
I disagree.
I say less so.
I have been very invested in Fall Out Boy's discography since 2007, when I was the ripe age of 6.
Oh God.
Yeah. I think that this is their best material that they've put out in 8 years. I loved American Beauty, American Psycho, and I think it takes a fat fucking dump out of whatever that 2013 album was. Somebody pull it up. Save Rock and Roll.
Oh no, we're not arguing about this.
No, we are.
No, we're not arguing. No.
American Beauty, American Psycho, phenomenal.
No. We are not. No.
Look, we don't have to argue about which one of those albums is better. Can we agree that Mania was dog shit and that this band should have retired?
Jake, mom and dad are fighting.
The last of the real ones was an okay song.
Mania sucks.
Mania was terrible. This is a surprising return to form that I really did not expect. Do I love it? No. Do you love it, Jacob?
Okay. The reason I got so hyped for this album was because Love from the Other Side is a single, and similar to Sing to the Grave by Chelsea Gray, and this was not included in our last episode because of timing and cutting singles. Anyways, That song is one of my most played songs of the year. I love Love from the Other Side. Love.
Good pick.
I think it's the best song on
One
the
of the
album.
best songs on the album.
I
for
think it
sure.
is the best song on the album.
I disagree, but it's top.
I raise you a special nugget sauce.
That's not a song on the album. What the fuck you want?
Yeah,
Look
it
at
is. What are you talking
Chakras
about?
and bro has me lost.
No, he's right.
You guys missed
Did
the
you-
inside joke.
You missed it. Wait. Okay, Derek, go listen to "I Am My Own Muse" and tell me the chorus doesn't sound like special nugget sauce.
What the fuck?
It says smash all the guitars, but it sounds like special nugget sauce.
All right, hold on. So, you play chorus.
I Am My Own Muse is also my favorite song because I really like the orchestral elements of
It
that
does.
song. And as the chicken nugget connoisseur,
Man,
Yeah, no.
Special nugget
I'm not the only one that sings something this episode, thank God.
No, I'm with you. I feel it. I hear it. God, I skipped right to it. Fuck me. Okay.
It took me until Jacob pointed it out to hear it.
Shit.
Oh, okay. Back to this album.
Yeah.
We never left.
You're right. We never left the special nugget sauce. Anyways, I think it's very spotty. It's like there's a good song, bad song, good song, bad song, good song, bad song.
Yeah.
See, here's where I'm at on it is that and for full disclosure, Folie à Deux, I've heard many pronounce this name. I don't speak fucking French. I don't know. Is a top 10 album of all time. Pre-hiatus Fall Out Boy was phenomenal. And I think that for better or for worse, Save Rock and Roll was okay. American Beauty, American Psycho was phenomenal. Mania is a top 10 worst album I've ever heard from any artist ever. And I can't stand it. And I think that for what this is, 5 years removed, this is a decent enough return to form that I hear aspects of American Beauty, American Psycho, of Folie à Deux, of some of their older stuff that I enjoy. But ultimately, this is kind of a miss in the song off thing that you were talking to thing. I don't really know what to feel about this album. I don't know what to feel. I'm lost. This album has me lost. And I think that the Kintsugi Kid is probably the strongest song on the album, if not top 3.
Interesting.
I think that Love from the Other Side, So Much for Stardust, I Am My Own Muse, Flu Game are all very good songs that deserve their own time in the spotlight. I think that having a song like Baby Annihilation be about an existential crisis is very on brand for like 2004 Fall Out Boy and is a very good callback to what is unfortunately now 2 decades ago and making me feel old even though I was 3 when it dropped. Like, I think that this has a lot of quintessential Fall Out Boy to be enjoyed. My problem is that I think that the band, after all this time spending their time in pop rather than pop punk, forgot how to make some of these things work. And so now they're left with a couple good songs on what is otherwise a mid-album. And I think that it's still, again, leagues ahead of Mania. I think Mania was terrible and a step in the wrong direction. This is a step in the right direction that doesn't quite make it back to the era of Fall Out Boy, even if there are glimpses of it that I wish they would be, simply because I loved pre-hiatus Fall Out Boy so much and saw on American Beauty, American Psycho what they were capable of after that. And it feels like they went a step forward, took a step back with Save Rock and Roll, went a step forward with American Beauty, American Psycho, took a fucking marathon back with Mania, and now they're trying to find their footing again with this album that leaves me kind of muddied and wondering, okay, they're still capable of making the fantastic music that they were at 15, 20 years ago. What does the next album look like? I think that the album after this is really going to define whether this was a once-off or a return to form. If it's a return to form, God Bless America, album of the year whenever it dropped. If it's not, fuck Fall Out Boy for giving us a glimpse of hope amongst mania when some of these feel like songs out of 2009 and some feel like misses out of 2023. I don't know, man. In the same way that like we've got a lot of connections to older bands, I got a really strong connection to this one. And in some ways it feels like a grace from God that we get this album, and in other ways it feels like a slap in the face. And I think that how they handled their material moving forward based off this album will be a very good indicator of whether or not Fall Out Boy has a place in the music scene 5 years from now, 10 years from now. They have an opportunity to make it or break it, which feels weird to say about a band that's already made it, you know, but they're going to make it or break it. And this album has as many makes it as I feel it has breaks it. And they've got another album cycle to prove me wrong and make their old fans happy, or prove me right and make their new fans happy. And I hope they make their old fans happy.
I'm seeing them live with Bring Me in the end of July, so
that is still the tour of the year. Fuck everybody else. That's still the tour of the year. Even with how I feel about this album, I think that is still tour of the year, and it is my hope that they can prove that they still have that edge that makes them something special.
It'll be my first time seeing both bands, so
I'm jealous. Beyond jealous.
Bands like Fall Out Boy are so weird for me because I just like I got into music too late to really like be a part of the era when they were actually like at their prime.
Well, think about it this way, Jake. In a few years, people will be like this for Bad Omens.
True.
Don't do that.
You will be the boomer who listened to Bad Omens 10 years ago.
I don't want to be the boomer.
You will be the boomer who listened to The Death of Peace of Mind the night it came out.
Oh no! Stop! I feel like Eddie.
Well, we should move on while we're at it. Let's crawl out of this rabbit hole.
Jake, tell us about a band that won't make us feel like boomers. Tell us about a new band.
Let's talk about Archetypes Collide, who have finally released their debut album, self-titled album, Archetypes Collide. What a band. What a group of individuals.
It's about fucking time.
It's about fucking time.
They've been teasing like an album since I want to say like Your Misery dropped. I think they were hinting at something being in development. And it's so weird that like as soon as they got a record deal, it's like they had what they needed. Let's pitch this and it's
just
out.
do the thing.
Yeah.
And they fucking did the thing.
It's
the realization that I had having followed this band since early 2019 to realize that for the first time in 4 years of following this band, I was going to get more than one song from them on a single day. It's incredible. Like, this band dropped so many unbelievably good singles throughout the past 4 years. To be able to be like, okay, so just imagine how good all of those singles that they have released, but imagine hearing them all back to back to back to back to back. And that's kind of what you get with this album. This album is incredible. You open up with, in my opinion, the strongest song on the album, Parasite, which is just an incredible metalcore song, incredible riff. I love the vocal delivery. One of my favorite choruses of the year so far. A sick breakdown. Then you get into Fade Away, which has another incredible chorus. You get a sick lead from the first chorus into like a riff that strays away from the typical song formula a little bit. It sounds very unique. Counterfeit, What If I Fall, My Own Device, a bunch of incredible songs. My favorite stretch on this album is the heaviest part of this album. Suffocate Me into Destiny into Deep End is an incredible trilogy of songs. Suffocate Me and Deep End are both incredible pissed off anthems. Particularly Deep End. I love the line in that song of release the hounds Kazuran season. This isn't friendship. This is treason. Raw as fuck energy. I'm fucking pissed energy. I love it. Destiny also has one of my favorite lyrics on the album, but has more meaning to it rather than just grr anger. No matter how many mountains that I climb, I always feel so cold. Will I ever be satisfied with conquering my goal? Which, the more you think about it, and just like, will you ever be satisfied with reaching where you want to be? It's like you set a goal and then you finally get there and then you're like, oh, that's not the goal that I actually wanted, type of thing. Like the goal is constant, like is for every step that you take forward, the goal gets another step further away. Just I really appreciate the lyricism in Destiny, and also just instrumentally it sounds great. Another sick breakdown. I have so many amazing things I could say about this album, but Justin, what do you have to say about it?
Yeah, so I wanna kind of touch on like the structure of the album, just because I haven't done that this year, and I feel like it's very important to know like how the album was structured, um, especially when you get like Parasite, um, which in itself is like a disease, is like something picking at you. Sometimes you know it, sometimes you don't. And then you get the like next two tracks, Fade Away and Counterfeit, where you're kind of dealing with it, but you know it's there, but you're pushing it aside. Um, and then What If I Fall My Own Devices, like realizing it, and then slowly beginning to realize that it's something that's consuming you. And then you had mentioned like the heaviest part of it, I think is probably like the turning point of whatever story they're telling on this album, where um whatever is kind of like defining them is like destroying them from the inside out. They've gone too far. It's like entered their nightmares, their dreams with Destiny. Um and then Separate going right into Paranoid and Paralyzed, which I honestly think the last three songs are like some of their best work. And Fade Away, I think Fade Away is really good. Um, but I want to highlight like the last three are like the coming to terms with like the circumstances, like mental health and like whatever's plaguing you. Um, and fucking the Landon Tours features really fucking good.
So good.
It fits this band so well. Their voices mesh like almost instantly. We get Lannisters, Uncleans, with There's a Demon in My Chest. Fucking really good breakdown. This album has a lot of good breakdowns and a lot of the
Yes.
slower tracks. Fade Away, Silence. I don't think Love Again has one. For some
No.
reason it's playing with
I
me.
think every song other than Love Again has a breakdown.
Yeah, and I think that
My Own
plays
Device, maybe not, but My Own Device is one of the weaker songs on this album, and I haven't spent as much time with it. So
well, yeah. I mean, I think it's also one of the weakest, but I'm also like in the boat of I don't like the heavier songs. So like Suffocate Me, Dead End, and Separate, forgettable to me. But the rest where they actually like have the like actual vocals kind of flow a bit more and kind of fit with the instrumentals instead of going just straight metalcore rock. I think is like some of the best work, like Paranoid Paralyzed. You get some of the lyrics here with kind of leading more into that coming to terms with the viruses that ail you. Especially here, Paranoid Paralyzed, the machine behind my eyes has become a parasite, referencing Parasite back at the start of the album.
Yep.
I'm hypnotized, future holds the darkest skies, Paranoid and Paralyzed. And then Love Again, I think it's honestly my favorite song. I love the chorus of I don't really know what's in your head. It could be the time stole my best friend. The look in your eyes, I'm recognized, helpless, I'm paralyzed. I don't really know what's in your head. I just need your love again. Love his delivery on that chorus.
I'm pretty sure Love Again is referencing someone in the band has someone with like Alzheimer's or something.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what that song is referencing. I could be misremembering a social media post, but
I don't know. I think it still also plays well into the quote unquote theme. I don't know if it has a theme. Probably has a theme. And everything has a theme. Everything has a meaning. It's just I'm a dumb guy that's trying to make sense of it all. I also, while I have the soapbox, want to make special mention to the 2 bonus tracks. We can't talk about them because they're not on Spotify. But Ghost and They Don't Know are really fucking good. If you have $10 to throw
I
away
need to
and
listen to those still. I have the CD and I haven't heard
Yeah.
them yet.
if you have $10 to throw away and like what you hear from this album, fucking get the album. It's signed. It comes signed. And you get those 2 tracks. They're really, really good. I don't want to talk more about them or try to sell them or anything. Much more than I already have with this album in general. But I think Our Types Collide have really hit their stride. There's something really going on with self-titled albums, self-titled entries that I referenced back 2021 with Galleons, where it's really defining their sound and kind of
Yeah.
making this like the platform of like, here's our band, here's where we stand. You're either gonna like it or you're gonna not. And I think like this kind of definition for their band really is gonna like make them soar. Like they are at fucking 176,000 listeners right now.
Huge.
Big,
If
big
I
win
have
for the
any
guys.
criticisms about this album, I do miss their softer sound. When I first got into them with songs like White Noise and One More Night with like limited harsh vocals, those are some of my favorite songs of theirs, and I don't feel like there's as many hints of that. This album definitely leans more into the metalcore, heavier side of their sound, akin to like a Your Misery, which
I mean,
makes sense. Your Misery was the song that really kind of blew them up. It got them on Octane for the first time. So like, I don't blame them for going in that direction. But as someone that has been following them for a while, I do miss the songs that are more melodic in nature. And there are still songs on here like that.
Yeah,
What If I
I was
Fall,
about
for
to say,
example? What If I Fall is one of my favorite songs on here. That song is incredible.
Yeah,
But I feel
What If
like
I
the
Fall,
metalcore
Love
elements of
Again.
this song drown out the non-metalcore elements of this album.
No, I think it's got a pretty good clear difference to it. So I think that you get a little bit of hint of that with some of the 3, but this is also more of like them showing what they can do to like not only like their fans but also the scene. I think this is really just kind of a statement to
Yeah,
like
this is
not
absolutely a statement album of
to not
we are
overlook
Archetypes
them.
Collide and we are here to play. If you like metalcore, you should be listening to Archetypes Collide.
Oh,
Like,
easily.
I know I just said that like I am like if I have any criticism that like the metalcore elements drown out like the cleaner elements, no. Like songs like Suffocate Me and Deep End go hard as fuck and I still love them. I also still love this band's softer side and I wish it was a little bit more relevant across the album. Or at least the cleaner sides stuck out to me more.
Yeah, I was about
Maybe
to say
that's the better way to phrase it.
Yeah, I think that's the way because I still
Because
think
they definitely exist, like especially towards the back half on songs like Paranoid and Paralyzed, Love Again, What If I Fall. Like, it definitely exists, but to my ears and what stuck to me, it was those metalcore moments more. Whereas the singles that I had known to love this band for over the past 3 or 4 years were the softer ones. There, I think I finally said what I wanted to say after 3 times of trying.
Yeah, I was about to say it was.
I feel like Justin, we've been talking about this album a lot. Derek and Jacob, what did you guys think of this album?
Obviously, I'm not as high on it as you.
I don't think that's possible.
I enjoyed this. I saved a few songs. I said this in the chat. I'm gonna say it here. I think this is Until I Wake's album done better.
Easily.
I will not agree with that opinion at all.
You don't get a choice.
Oh, my bad. I think Silence is a top 10 song released so far this year, is
Love
my
it.
take on this album.
Hell yeah.
I think that Deep End and Love Again are also very good. What If I Fall, Fade Away, both fantastic songs.
I think that the rest of this album does necessarily not a great job of distinguishing itself from other albums and artists in the genre, but 1 to 2 album cycles from now, I think I'm singing a very different song. And I think that this Archetypes Collide from the rip are having a very, very good and definitive album cycle. And I think that the success that this has given them in terms, or at least relative to the previous material, I think 2 albums from now, we're entering top 10 albums of the year territory, maybe definitively for all of us across the board. I mean, obviously our tastes are going to change, but given where they are now and how much potential this band has, it's unlimited.
Yeah, this is
And-
crazy for a debut.
Right?
Yeah.
There are a lot of crazy.
They've been cooking for a while. They've been cooking for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna see some good shit here soon. I can feel it.
Yeah. And I think they're only going to go bigger. They're supporting Beartooth on tour starting very soon, and that's going to expose them to an even wider audience. And then hopefully it just the snowball keeps on going.
Absolutely. I mean,
Hopefully
what are
They
don't-
absolutely deserve it.
Hopefully, they won't take the experience from Beartooth. But let's continue on with that.
was the song I pointed out? Was it Separate? That's the
Separate,
one?
yeah.
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 That is a
Separate's
motherfucking
just a
Beartooth
Beartooth song in disguise.
Yeah, absolutely. Do y'all know
Not to
what
describe the
album?
song, but
Do y'all know what album is a fucking experience? Is
it's this next one that
Daydreamer.
we're going to talk about.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Daydreamer by Dead Lakes.
All right, this was the third album that I listened to on March the 31st when all these stupid albums dropped.
Also a debut album.
Also a debut album, yes. I just want to mention that for the first time since starting this podcast, I put down 3 8 out of 10 albums on the same release day
Wow.
or better.
Wait, what? Oh, it's the third one. Oh, wait, I know what it is. I scrolled
We'll
scrolled
get to
down.
number 3. We'll get to number 3. This was the first 2 I was pretty sure about. This one had the potential to be incredible. And it is.
I agree.
This album's phenomenal. And then there's Justin.
Keep going.
We established this last
Man.
episode. Justin doesn't like this album because he didn't find this band.
That's not
Troy.
the case at all.
No, it's true. It's true. You're the one behind the paywall, I thought. Shut up.
For some reason, just can't get a hang of the vocals.
That
I don't know
hurts
what it
me,
is.
man.
Yeah.
This, I didn't. When we got these singles, they were okay. Some are better than others, and I didn't really think much of it. In the context of the album, holy balls! Like this,
Yeah.
this album flows perfectly one track to the next, and I think more than anything else, I live out in the middle of buttfuck nowhere now, right? Like I have to when I put this album on, it's usually I want to go somewhere that has people and I want to come back. And it's long enough that I can do that. And in doing that, in driving to those places along with listening to the lyrics, this album's almost like a drive, like a late night drive.
There are a lot
And
of references to driving across this
Yeah,
album.
exactly. And I think that all of what I love of this album abstracted away, it's perfect. I cannot find a single flaw with this album because I think it is good for any and every situation. And I am in love with everything that Dead Lakes are doing and the way that they've managed to kind of make their brand and sell it through their music. And I'll turn it over because I have a couple things to say, but I don't want to go too far with everybody else airing their opinion on this.
I think this is the most cohesive album I've heard since Nocturnal by Mothica last year.
Agreed.
The flow that this album has is unbelievable. Just every song, it's so smooth from one song to the next. Like Believer into Hold Back. I mean, obviously that's an interlude into a song, but even other songs like Strange Juice into Tongue Planet into Wrong Way, just seamless transitions across the entire album, and all of the thematic references to like daydreaming and like just driving and like kind of dozing off into your thoughts and into your mind and everything that goes on. And like there's a lot of ties to like breakups and relationships throughout the album too, and like decision making that changes the outcomes of all of these things. Like, I mean, Wrong Way puts it best, like wrong way down a one lane. Like, if you go a wrong way down a one lane, you know what's happening if there's someone coming down the right way of that one, you know? And it just such a cohesive album from top to bottom. But even if the album is like, I've heard cohesive albums that I don't enjoy, but on a song for song basis, there are so many incredible songs on here. I still stand by Strange Juice being a top 10 song of this year so far. And then others, Wrong Way is still incredible. My favorite non-single has been Hold Back. I love the riff of that song, and just the chorus is unbelievably catchy of I don't want to hold back, I already have. Tired of everyone telling me who I am. Of just like trying to figure out who you really are and not having other people define who you are for you. Just, and I feel like, as I said, it's so cohesive that all these themes that like, they're all so well intertwined that like, you have the references to like daydreaming and relationships towards the start of the album. Then you have the references to like driving and the monotony of like boredom almost, and everything comes together in Deceiver, which I know Derek is one of your favorite songs, so I'm gonna let you speak on that one. But yeah, just I knew this album had dark horse potential, but I think it even outgrew that dark horse potential that I thought I could have.
Absolutely. It's this all of it is a roadmap to perfection, and it's a roadmap to emotion. It's a roadmap to what I feel like is the pinnacle of vibey post hardcore. Like it.
The
This
thing that should be Justin's cup of tea.
Right.
The vocals, get off my ass.
No, I won't get off your ass. You should like this.
I spoke about another album that I think defines the genre that it's within, and this isn't it. As much as I wish it was, kind of thing. Like I feel like this should be a cornerstone album, but at the same time, it's earned its own place. I've heard a lot of fucking music. All right, like I mean, y'all know me. I've heard a shitload of albums, and I don't think that I have heard a single album ever that has been more perfectly suited for a night drive than this one. And it's sonically, it's lyrically, thematically. Everything about this is just perfect. It creates
friendly reminder, debut album, by the way. Debut album, by the way.
Debut album is unreal. I mean, the atmosphere that this album creates, not only within the genre, but itself. Holy fuck. This is the type of quality that you expect out of a band that's put out 3 or 4 albums, let alone their debut album. I mean,
I want to stop you for a second because you said genre and then earlier said Juan. You're losing my mind as you're trying to be serious.
Dude, I am. I'm losing my mind trying to talk about this album because it is. I mean, it's. I have.
Talk about Deceiver.
Fuck, dude.
Okay,
the way that they deliver Hard to Love, I think speaks for the track as a whole. And not to abstract away the quality of the track and everything that it has to offer, but oh God. This album in particular deals with so many hard topics, and not even in a way that feels like it tugs at your heartstrings in the way that maybe a Too Close to Touch would or anything like that, but
or Dayseeker.
Yeah, and a Dayseeker, anything like that. But it still grabs the same subject material in a way that feels a little bit more accessible and easier to listen to regardless of whatever mood you're in. That it's not only listenable when you're feeling that way, but also playlistable. And I think that that's the strength of this album is that it can make you feel something. But at the same time, if you just want to drive when it's 68 degrees out at midnight and the windows are down, you can do that too. You know, it's perfect. I truly, between every individual track and the way that each track transitions into the next, and the subject material and the lyricism and the instrumentation, given the way that the album is supposed to present itself, I could not name you a single flaw with this album. And that doesn't feel like a review as much as it feels like praise. But the fact that I can speak so highly on a debut album, I think really speaks to the level of talent that Dead Lakes have to offer. And this is truly, even if it's not a cornerstone album of what the genre that it represents, which I would more or less give post-hardcore, it is still a statement that I think that a lot of other bands who occupy the same space have to live up to, given the strength of the material on this album. This is unreal. I would have never imagined when I listened to this debut EP in 2020 that they would have gotten to this point so fast. I would have expected this 2 albums from now. 1 album from now is insane. And I'm almost scared that they won't live up to it on the next album cycle. You know, I get afraid when bands lead off this strong, but holy balls, is this incredible. How do you land this album as a debut? How do you do it? Nobody else could do it. No other band.
I feel like I need to mention that, like, Dead Lakes feels like they're, like, very modern in the same way that, like, Picturesque feels like very in
That's a
touch
good
with, like,
comparison.
Absolutely.
with, like, modern kind of subject matter almost, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
They're-
Dead Lakes feels like a very, like, 2020s band, you know?
Dead Lakes, Sleep Token, Bad Omens. I would say a couple other bands, including an artist we'll talk about next, have really tapped into that next generation of fans. They are so much better off for it, because I think that 5 years from now, we are going to be talking about Dead Lakes in the same way that we're talking about Bad Omens now. They're going to take over the scene. It's inevitable. This section of this kind of music, there's no other band doing it like them, and kudos to Dead Lakes for taking advantage of that space so soon. I have nothing bad to say about this, and I even had negative things to say about the Death of Peace of Mind, even as far removed and as grown as I was on it. I truly believe that this is a perfect album, front to back. I have not one single criticism, which is insane to say about any album, let alone a debut album. I have nothing. And I would be curious to hear about your guys' criticisms of it, if you have any, because I know that it's not the same for everybody, but from where I'm sitting, this album is absolutely perfect and blew me.
To make it brief, because we haven't really let Jacob talk very much.
Yeah, sorry,
I think Drown It Out and Quicksand are kind of weaker songs on the album, but, like, that's it. That's really as far as I can go. That, like, those 2 songs have not been in my constant rotation compared to everything else.
I have more of a problem with myself rather than a criticism,
Okay.
as I feel like I've listened to Strange Juice, Tongue Planet, Wrong Way, Stamina as singles too much, where where it's almost like I'm tired of them.
Ooh, okay. So I think
And-
that this is a... Oh, sorry,
and-
sorry, go ahead.
It affects the whole listening experience of the album for me, and I really think I ruined it for myself. And
Damn.
I'm scared because I've kind of over listened to, like, the Sleep Token singles too. And I'm-
Yeah.
although I haven't, like, grown tired of them yet, so I don't know. Anyways, that is, it kind of holds me back pun intended, when listening to this Dead Lakes album, where it's almost like I want to skip them. And maybe what I need to do is like take a break from all these songs for like, I don't know, a few months, and then come back with like a fresh mindset, almost like a detox.
Yeah, exactly.
Because yeah, it's really unfortunate. I over listened to Strange Juice, especially Strange Juice and Tongue Planet, I think.
So that's interesting because you and I are the exact opposite. I didn't like Tongue Planet and Strange Juice at all until I got them in the context of the album.
Well, I've been thinking about it a lot. It's because, and like this something similar happened with The Devil Wears Prada last year, where with both of us, where we both didn't really like the singles and we both didn't give them much attention, and we get to the album and we love it.
Right.
So
I will
personal
be
problem.
curious to hear, well, because I think that for me, Wrong Way and Stamina, as much as I love them, as Stamina in particular has grown on me a lot. So I've had the perspective of I over listened to 2 of the 4 singles opposite of the ones that you did, and I grew to appreciate them even more. I think that if you took a break from it and then maybe a month or 2, I mean, this is a long ways away, 6 months, but maybe 2 months removed from, our album of the year list, if you revisited it, I think that you might have the same experience that I did based on what I know about our shared personal taste. Because, good God, this is sitting, and I mean, I guess I said the same thing about Era in 2021. It ended up at like number 8 or number 9, but I'm like 15 to 20 listens deep to this album, and I am seeing it so solidly solidified at my album of the year spot that nothing on the books this year so far, including Sleep Token, as much as I love those singles, has even come close to dethroning it. I mean, this is truly just imagery, lyricism, sonically. This is perfect. And to have it from a debut album is blowing my fucking I mean, it's just unreal levels of talent from a band that I think over the next couple of years we are really going to see take over the scene in the same way that we've seen Bad Omens, Sleep Token, all those bands. TikTok or otherwise, they're going to fucking kill it because this talent is too good to go unrecognized.
Any last comments? I feel like that's a good place to leave this album, unless there's any last comments we want to make. Let's move on to this next album. You kind of hinted at it, Derek.
Yeah.
So take it away.
Nothing Nowhere has dropped his newest album, Void Eternal. If you don't count Dead Lakes as post-hardcore, this is the most definitive post-hardcore album I've heard in a long time.
You would call this post-hardcore?
I would say so. What would you call this?
I don't know.
I'm with Jacob here. I'm with Jacob here. I don't know what to call this.
It is somewhere between post-hardcore, metalcore, and emo. Maybe we call it emo-core? Like, I don't really know what to call it. This occupies the same space as The Death of Peace of Mind and Obsidian by Northlane for me. This is that definitive album that I mentioned earlier. I think this is going to absolutely kill a lot of other albums in the scene moving forward. This is a definitive album. And I want to take that statement and I want to sit with it and I want to see how you guys are feeling about it.
I don't think so.
Okay. Contrary to me, why not?
I don't know. It to me, with my minimal Nothing Nowhere experience, it doesn't it doesn't get me emotionally, honestly. I feel like it's lacking emotion, which I would disagree on songs like Cyanide and
Mm.
Venom and Memory Fracture. Those are my 3 favorite songs, by the way.
Funny you mentioned that, because Venom and Memory Fracture are the only 2 songs in this album that I didn't add to my playlist.
Interesting.
I added the entire first, like, what, 9, 10 songs of this album.
Jake
until the final
added
2.
the Will Ramos song. Everybody
I did.
hear that?
I
Jake
initially left it out. But after listening to it again, I added it back. I added it into the playlist, and it has stayed in the playlist. I don't
didn't
love
like-
the song, but it's in the playlist still. So it's the closest you're getting to me enjoying Lorna Shore, I guess.
This is so fucking funny because that's my least favorite song in the album.
Oh,
And it's not even close. And so it's so funny that that's the one that Jake has in his playlist. And I don't. Or that you objecting to it, Jacob. That feels very backwards.
I like Tragedy. I think I'd place it like number 4 or 5.
Here's the thing for me. If I wasn't adding each song to my playlist as I was listening to the album, by the time I get to the end of the album, I don't think I would have remembered a single song that I actually enjoyed. Because a lot of this album feels like it all sounds very similar to me. And there are definitely some differences on it. Like, shout out Thirst for Violence. That's Suicide Pact and Thirst for Violence are my 2 favorites on here by far. And Thirst for Violence definitely stands out. But if you told me to tell you, like, tell me something different between Eraser, Chroma Killer, and Anxiety, and I would struggle. Or like find something different between Psychiatry and Fortune Teller, and I would struggle.
I think
Like, I can't tell you much about any of those songs.
I think it's really interesting that Nothing Nowhere somehow chose all the features, almost except maybe the Will Ramos one. All features on with bands I couldn't care less for. For the most part. Or no, let's not say couldn't care less for. I'm gonna say am indifferent on.
Yeah.
Like See You Space Cowboy, Silverstein, Fall Out Boy, I guess. Static Dress, Census Fail, Under Oath, Lorna Shore. Yeah. It's like
The Silverstein feature in Thirst for Violence, I think, is great. And the Freddie Dredd feature, too. It surprisingly works.
Yeah, I think this is an interesting album. It's weird.
Weird is a very good way to put it.
Yeah.
I think that in the same way, and I mentioned this earlier, I think Obsidian defined prog metalcore, or that kind of in-between genre of metalcore and whatever the fuck you want to call it, for the decade to come. And I think that this, in a way, has kind of defined post-hardcore for a year to come, or for the years to come. And I think it's because this album, as somebody with a lot of Nothing Nowhere experience, is very definitively Nothing Nowhere, in that even if it's a complete stylistic switch up from something that he dropped 4 years ago, I can still feel his artistic integrity in this album. And he's managed to take parts of emo rap and convert them into post-hardcore and metalcore in a way that's so, even if I don't love them, it's interesting. Like, don't get me wrong, I've heard this album probably 4 times all the way through. The songs that I love off this album, I could not distinguish them to you for the life of me. Gun to my head, I'm fucked. But I think that when I listen to this album on a track-by-track basis, I listen to it and I go, this is so unique. This is so different. This is Nothing Nowhere, but brought to some cross-genre magnificence that I'm forgetting about. It's an enigma of an album, and in saying that, I think that because he's managed to blend so many aspects of the genre that it's trying to be with his own style and the emo rap blend, we are going to see a lot of albums in the next 2-3 years come out with aspects of this and look back on this album more fondly than we are right now. I think that given 3 to 4 years from now, we take artists like Silverstein, a lot of prominent post-hardcore artists, and they're going to take notes from this. And we're going to be able to take a song and say, okay, this sounds like Thirst for Violence, or this sounds like Tragedy, or this sounds like Chroma Killer. Chroma Killer, by the way, being my absolute favorite song off the album. Fucking phenomenal. And Nothing Nowhere has managed better than I think any other artist in the scene has to take his pre-existing style and apply it in a way that transitions perfectly over to the metal side of the scene. There is no artist that comes to mind, not Garden, not anybody else in that emo rap sector of the scene that has managed to do this so perfectly. And a couple years from now, we're going to be talking about this. I have absolutely zero doubt in my mind that we're going to be talking about this album as in reference to big name artists that we normally talk about that are going to be dropping new material that base themselves off of this Nothing Nowhere album. And to me, it's incredible, even if I don't think this is going to end up in my top 10 at the end of the year, to experience an album like that in real time and be able to say, I was there. Same way that we felt last year with The Death of Peace of Mind, even if the album isn't nearly as good as The Death of Peace of Mind was, that I think the scene is in a renaissance, and I think that this album, among many, many others, is a perfect example of that. And I can't wait to see where it is a couple years from now.
I kind of agree with you there. I hope this album pushes someone like Garden or to collab with someone who like Garden has a scene background. Like it could, if I hope it pushes him or someone like him to genre bend something like this.
Absolutely.
Randomly spitballing, but I would love to see Grandson make a metalcore album.
Honestly, me too. That could be a sleeper top
Actually,
10.
get me a Grandson featuring Nothing Nowhere song, or the other way around, Nothing Nowhere featuring Grandson. That shit would go hard.
I got a question though. Do you think Nothing Nowhere could have pulled this off without the features?
Yes.
I agree.
I don't
think
know
they
if
could.
as successfully, but yes. I think if you remove half of the features, this album still has a very strong identity.
I think that the features sell the transition over into the scene.
Yes, I think that's the
album's
point.
still
Yeah.
achieved.
You
Yeah.
attach a bunch of names to it.
That gets people paying attention.
Yes.
Absolutely. And I think that that's crucial to selling your transition over from one of the most prominent emo rap artists in the entire genre to somebody who can pull off whatever blurry line that him and Time the Valuator do between post-hardcore and metalcore.
Hello.
I'm seeing him in 3 weeks with Wage War.
With this album, that bill makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
So I guess entirely well, not entirely, but related to maybe a conversations ago, Justin, did you get the chance to listen to this album?
A little bit. Didn't save anything.
I would challenge you to listen to all of this and see how you feel, because I think that truly, if nothing else, this feels like Time the Valuator on crack.
Really?
I would say so.
See it. I don't see it.
I would say the
I don't know
Cleans
them
from
well
that.
enough to.
I would say this feels like some of the best parts of Time the Valuator merged with the best parts of post-hardcore as a genre, with a little bit of metalcore flair on some of the songs. But yeah, this album is something special, and I think that even if I don't, same as I felt with Obsidian by Northlane, I feel higher than I do, or I feel higher on this than I do on Obsidian. Overall, I think I can appreciate this a lot more as something that is going to define the scene moving forward in the next 10 years.
You know what? After hearing you say I agree. This is like a stepping stone
Yeah.
for the scene. Something to
Even
build
if
off
this-
of.
Yeah, even if this isn't, I think it's a great album. I think for a lot of people, it may not be a great album because there's a lot going on here and a lot of experimentation, and Nothing Nowhere's finding his footing. I think that not only are we going to see a lot of artists build off of the sound, but we're going to see Nothing Nowhere also improve off of this album. And I think that 2023, 2024, we might have Nothing Nowhere Album of the Year in contention solely off the fact that he has such a strong understanding of the scene, proven in just this one album, which is a complete genre switch. 2024 is going to be unreal for Nothing Nowhere, and I can't wait to see what he brings, because this album truly is, if nothing else, something special to bring to the scene to propel himself and a lot of other artists forward.
Does that take us to our final album for the episode? Finally,
Jake,
No,
I want you to
we're
take-
done our
Oh,
final album. You're
Yeah.
you got one left.
Jake, I didn't listen to this. I want to listen
Time for
to it.
me
I
to
want
try
you
and
tell
sell
me
you
what I
on it.
missed out.
all right. Ad Infinitum have dropped their album, Chapter 3, Downfall. I fucked up by waiting on listening to Chapter 2. So we never got to discuss Chapter 2 when that came out back in 2021. But it narrowly missed my top 10 albums of that year, with songs like Your Enemy and Into the Night being absolutely incredible. Inferno as well. This album follows in all of those footsteps. It takes that formula and just makes it better.
Sold.
All right, that wasn't too hard.
Continue, but sold.
I think the defining song on this album for me is New Dawn. And I don't, if you guys saw my reaction to that song in the Discord server, New Dawn is not my song of the year, but it should be. It is the only song so far this year to genuinely make me shed a tear, in just like, it's just such a beautiful song. It is the ultimate song for happy tears. And just like, it's the most uplifting song I've heard all year by far. I've never heard an acoustic guitar work in a symphonic metal song the way that Ad Infinitum made it work in New Dawn.
Real.
You're about to stop and say I've
And-
never heard an acoustic guitar.
Just wait. It is absolutely beautiful. Let me pull up some lyrics real quick. Because you start out with the acoustic guitar before you get into this classic symphonic metal guitar riff. And then you slow down into the first verse that opens with another sunrise, another day, another miracle, or so they say. And just that line immediately just was like, that like sent like a shockwave through my body of, oh, we're going there. And then the chorus, it's just so beautiful. I found you waiting, tomorrow is ours now. Holding your hand for a moment in time, a new dawn, a new day, a brand new world for our kind. It's just so fucking beautiful, and it's the happy tears song of the year for me. But other than that, this is the ad infinitum guarantee of symphonic metal meets metalcore post-hardcore, with incredible harsh vocal deliveries on songs like From the Ashes and The Underworld. From the Ashes is one of the most surprisingly awesome breakdowns I've heard all year. It's just an instrumental breakdown that it transitions from out of the chorus into kind of like a riff, and then you think it's just going to go into the final chorus, but then you just get this crazy low guitar tuning into a chunky breakdown. You get other anthems like Upside Down and Somewhere Better. I think there's a bit of a weak stretch from Ravenous through The Serpent's Downfall. Those 4 songs are a bit weaker in my opinion. I haven't spent as much time with them. They're still fine. They're still ad infinitum songs, and they're enjoyable listens, but they don't have the wow factor that the rest of this album has. And then you end on Legends, which actually opens with the feature that really sets the tone for the song. It's a spoken word opener, and it very much sets you in the tone to wrap up this album in a really nice way. It's a strange closer for sure, and definitely took me a while to really get used to it. I almost think I would have preferred New Dawn to just be the closer, and then I could definitively call it closer of the year. But overall, Ad Infinitum deserve to be in the spotlight in the post-hardcore metalcore scene way more than they are, because really their sound is not that far off from the likes of a Conquer Divide or a Spirit Box, but because they are on Nuclear Blast Records, I believe, right? No, they're on Napalm. They're on Napalm.
Oh,
But because they're on Napalm with like a bunch of other power metal type bands, I feel like people don't talk about them because of the bands that are associated with that label. But Ad Infinitum are absolutely a hidden gem amongst that crowd. And honestly, I feel like they're a bit mismatched in that crowd, to be honest. Yeah, I have nothing but great things to say about this album. This is the third March 31st album that we are talking about that I would give at least an 8 out of 10 or higher, which has never happened since starting to chart all the music that I listened to since 2020. So truly just an absolutely insane day. Just an insane day and an insane month. If you like women, female-fronted bands...
Again, I thought you were going to stop.
I have to
like
say it.
women.
If you like women, stop.
If you like,
Full stop.
if you like women, you can listen to Ad Infinitum and you'll probably enjoy it. Melissa Bonney is an unreal talent. I mean, she's in so many fucking bands, and just is incredible in all of them. So, Ad Infinitum, I think, is where her best work is, and I would absolutely recommend this to anyone that likes female-fronted post-hardcore or metal. And with that, that is our March 2023 recap.
Holy
There was a lot
shit.
that we had to leave out. I know, Derek, you didn't get a chance to shit on Barry Tomorrow for as much as you liked the singles. I had to leave out the Pop Evil album, which for a week in time was my second favorite album of this year. Or no, it was top 3. It was top 3. And there was the Modern Love EP, which, Justin, I know you listened to that, I think. We didn't get to talk about that.
Oh, I
but
don't
that was
remember.
good too. Oh, whatever. Well, I thought you listened to it anyway.
Nope, that's why I didn't include it.
I wanted to include to talk about one song, but fuck, this recap is already way too long. Thank you for listening. You can follow us on social media at Hivemind Radio _ on Instagram and Twitter. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We record these episodes live. You can come hang out in the chat with us as we discuss all of this music, generally at the beginning of each month. But if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you'll see when we are live. Help us hit 100 subscribers as well. Be sure to follow us on Spotify as well, Hivemind Radio Recap. And thank you for listening to this absolute behemoth of an episode and behemoth of a month of music as well. For as underwhelming as January and February were in the album department, March absolutely made up for it.
Full agree.
And with that, we'll see you next month. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.